Hello. Well, I'm just doing this live stream as a practice because I haven't streamed for almost 6 years now. And the first thing I would like to do is to know if you can listen to the music, if it's too high or if it's in a regular, volume or it's over the top. Because if it is, I need to lower the volume. All right, this way we can work. Anyways, yeah, 6 years known stream, and right here you see this character which is called MCA. This was back in the day when digital influencers started to come out. So I thought, why not? Let's make one. And this is a singer. And let's see if I can manipulate this to move forward in the image show. Yeah, here we go. We have the controllers. And this is X23. As you may remember, this is a project that I started long ago before the actual launch of Marvel Pokemon Rivals. Because I really liked the style, and I thought, you know what, if Marvel Rivals came out and they made it, I don't know, X23, how would it look like? Because they were all making all these changes and stuff. So I thought, maybe if I do my own spin on this character, maybe it will pick up some traction. And it did. Unfortunately, I never got to finish it because some other things happened in life, and I had to take care of those things first. Incidentally, my machine died on me on December, so it was one hard thing, another sort of deals that I have to take care of first. So this year, hopefully we will go back to her, finish the Unreal Engine shading plus the bones, the rigging bones. And this character is only missing the hair because back in the day I decided, like AAA studios are doing all these hair cards and stuff, but why isn't anyone, pushing the limits through curves? Hair curves are actually instances of a main curve parent. I will get more into technical details later. But the deal here is that she had actual physics hair and stuff, but I'm going to be changing that into actual hair cards so that we can rig her hair as well, and then she can actually become a fully playable character inside Unreal Engine as a RIG2U5 rig. So the today's theme is Bella Dagger. That's her key name, that's her spy name, because this cartoon wasp is a spy. Okay, in the bigger story, which I have not told, she is singing in this club, in this 1940s saloon club in the Wild West, and she's got some businesses with some mafia guys, and yeah, it's very shady and stuff, but she keeps her cover by being a singer. So let's continue with this. And yeah, her concept came because you'll see this later. My original game was going to be set in 1940, but in black and white rubber hose style, which some of the characters do have, except that Bella, she's got to be more, more dynamic, more like a femme fatale, like, those characters back in the day used to be. They have a comic relief character, which is in this case another character which I will show later, and of course her being a wasp, having her sting and all. But yeah, that's her cover. She's a spy. Okay, you might remember this was from, I think, our last stream back in 2021, I think, or 2022, more likely 2020. Yeah, it's been a long time. And back in the day, I was looking for a technique to create anime hair with better stylized cards, and so we can unwrap them like this, have them a shadow, part under them, which is a very effective way, but I found out another interesting method that I will be publishing later on. Yeah, now I remember why I stopped streaming. All right, so here we have Bella again, and this is something important. I've developed a webtoon anime shader. Yes, that's right. You can load your GLB file into a web page and then you can showcase it bypassing any other embedding and weird code. And I'm going to be releasing this for Patreons later. But right now the prototype is already working, and it triggers actions, it triggers expressions, facial expressions, and it's just marvelous. But then you need to manage the outline. How do you do that? Well, if you remember, in Blender we have the solidify modifier, to create the backface call method, but in 3JS, which is the 3D format for internet, for the web, you can tell it, hey, look for this vertex group, look for this vertex group, or look for this attribute color. In this case, I applied the red channel, painted red channel in the vertex domain, vertex paint, if you can say it. And all this information is 0, while everything else is just 50%. It's not totally white, it's 50%. So I filled the entire face with 50% grayscale, you can say it, and then I'll start painting the areas where I do not want the outline to show. And yes, 3JS has a method to create an inverted call, invert the normals, and then you can show with this kind of technique the thickness. I'll show you that later. So yeah, here's Elaine. This is why I remember it was way back in 2020, because that was a fever with Mushoku Tensei. It got America by storm. So yeah, this is an old project, by the way. It's still available on Gumroad. You can go check it out there and see the screenshots. If you are interested in this, you can download the file there. And yeah, this is the, I think it's the Blender 3.6 version. Yeah, the best version that ever came from Blender. Anyways, oh yeah, this is a really old project. You remember Fixie, right? This is 2019, where I put together a course to show you how to create these anime techniques. Well, time goes by and it's 2026, and now you can ask any AI to create a toon shaded shader for the web. And this is exactly what I'm training Claude to do. Of course, in Blender we manage masks. We mask the ILM, the channel packing method for roughness, for metalness, and shininess, and ambient occlusion, of course, and even the outline, the inner lines, and all of that. Well, it turns out that you can create that for web. So basically, you can have a one-to-one comparison from your Blender model, your anime Blender model, into web for showcasing. That is just amazing news. I'm planning to do another extensive live stream on that. Right now we're just chilling. This live stream is just to remember where the buttons are. Yeah, I have not streamed for a long time. Okay, so if you're watching this, thank you so much, and I can read the chat, of course. You can see the live stream timer there. Anyways, this is the back of X23, my own take, which, by the way, I use some AI to recreate it and then actually have it fight against another of the characters I created. Oh, this is important. This is super important. There is a video that I have on my machine that I have not finished editing, which deals with how they made 3D animation or 3D games back in 2004. And if you remember, this is the Sony Ericsson W600. With this phone, you can play basically 3D graphics and stuff. Obviously, new generations of phones came along and 3D era also exploded. But this format, the M3G format, sorry, it's the core method for creating 3D Java games back in the day where phones were not as smart as we have them right now. And yes, I have a full AIP brought from 2004, fully working for Blender 3.6. You can check out the entire blog section in my website at 3dcinetv.com/blog. You can visit there and look for the first post where I have the entire process written for you so that you can check it out and install it. Mind, I have been doing this progresses to create 3D Java games using Blender 3.6, using the AIP, the original 2004 AIP brought to 2026, by the way, with all of the AIP calls. That means that you can fully use what they were using in 2004, except that this time you have Blender actually showing you the 3D result. And then you can export that into Java and then program or code whatever other functions or triggers you want. But the interesting thing here is that I made the entire repo in GitHub. There is a GitHub repo that I have created so that you can learn how to generate your 3D graphics, your 3D animations, the constraints that need to be, respected because it is an old format. However, you can bypass the fact that you cannot play it in old hardware. You can play it in modern hardware using an emulator, the RIG2U5 emulator, which basically loads your 2004 Java game and has no restriction in sound, no restriction in size, no restriction in graphics. You can be playing with your Android a 2004 game that you yourself create inside Blender 3.6. Yes, it's a lot to ingest, and I intend to do its own meaningful and super detailed video in the weeks ahead, God willing. Alright, so here we have another concept of my X23 character. This is my own take. It's like, my redesign, and here she's fighting against some goons over a moving train, which I thought it was an interesting concept to explore. There have been a lot of platformers where you can, specifically do this. But the interesting thing here is that she's going to be throwing all of these guys. It's basically a side scroller, and I intend to do that just as a practice because I really want to show the process, how you get these things from Blender into Unreal Engine and actually turn it into a game. We have AI now, which is a topic I intend to cover in this stream lightly, but we will get into another live stream where we are going to talk about the workflows between AI, Blender, and finally a game result output in Unreal Engine, including the stylized toon shaders, which my channel is very famous for. Yeah, this is a rigging tutorial, but I'm just walking you all through this because I have not streamed in a long time, and once I take the controls to rig and stuff, I'll forget about talking, and I don't want to get there just yet. Let's give people some more time to catch on because 6 years non-stream. This is the first time in 6 years. Anyways, let's continue. This is S4, and she's the bionic girl android that patrons got last year, and now I'm redesigning her in some of the parts. This, by the way, in January we redesigned her, and we now have a very convincing anime style specific to the kind of things I like to do and create. As you know, I have 20 plus years of experience in 3D and TD directing stuff, technical director in many things. Yeah, my work was basically doing VFX for live action footage, tracking, all of that thing. But ultimately I decided to come into the stylized part, and this is when Sony Imageworks also brought the Spider-Verse movie and stuff like that, giving the stylization for the big screen or for movies in this case a huge push. I was an ex-Softimage user, and what caught my attention in this style was when Guilty Gear was revealed back in 2014 at the GDC conference. In 2015 they Mr. Motomura did an entire explanation on how they achieved those effects and those shaders in Softimage XSI, and I ever since been in this track because I knew that this 2020 to 2024, 2026 would be all about stylized models. And this is just a way to show that this style is always kind of timeless and stuff. Again, this is Fixie from the Wing Fox stylized course, which I mentioned I did an entire series on this, and also a slight update. But since Blender, for some strange reason, kept updating 3, 4, and even 5 times a year, it sent me a very difficult time to update the course as well. That's when I decided to open up a Discord. I didn't know how to manage or give roles in Discords and all of those stuff. I seriously recommend that if you're thinking about joining, you can keep up with the updates in the notifications. But anyways, anybody that got this course has live support, always has had live support for all of the questions about the course. And I think this specific screen is about the setup, because there were drivers, automatically driving the colors for the uniform and other functions of the eye, and it was really complete. Next topic, I want to tell you about my recent release, my recent tool add-on, which is called Fur Normals to RGBA. And the intent there is that you can easily bake whatever short groom that you create in Blender geometry nodes, fur, hairs, and bake it immediately without any hustle. You are only required to do 2 things. The first one is to deal with how you're going to open your UVs, because the seams are going to be visible in the parts that you're going to open them with. And be mindful how you open your fur. That way, when the baking goes from top down, it will actually capture the hair that you have. It's a regular pelletry, I think it's called, technique. Yeah, those old rugs that you see hanging from the ceiling in those kind of old money guys' houses and stuff. So yeah, this add-on basically bakes the fur, packs it into a channel, and makes it compatible for animes and other game engine applications for fur. So that way you can fake short fur in your game engines. So that's an interesting thing that will also have its own dedicated video for the workflow. I already published one video talking about it, well, not really talking, but showing the process in a 2-minute video. So I think that's just a nice way to actually catch the workflow with this tool. As you can see here, it immediately recognizes the areas where you have fur, and then it bakes it, and it automatically also packs it. That way, the anisotropic channel, the ambient occlusion channel, and the sheen channel for the fur is captured. So yeah, there are some interesting things that you can do with this tool, specifically to work with fur animals, to create fur avatars for animes or any other kind of creation that uses fur. Not only animals, but you can also use it on insects, specifically inside animes, because animes has a fur shader. I don't know if any one of you knew this, but there is a fur shader inside animes, which basically creates a what they call hair shells. And what this does is that the shader itself replicates layers of the actual normal facial mesh, not face like in face, but the actual square, like the polygon itself. That's what we call faces. And then replicates it to the top to a number of layers that you punch in. In this case, it's always 32 because that's the maximum layers that this application accepts. But there it is, the result from Blender to animes. I came to know that there are not enough tutorials about this. That's why maybe nobody is doing really, creating fur avatars. inside animes, but that's not a problem anymore because you can bake the normals, the fur normals, you can bake the fur AO, you can bake the fur sheen and anisotropic properties, and this is how it's going to look in the next release, hopefully for Blender 4 5.2. Right now I'm coding, you know, the upcoming stuff in October, but yeah, this is where we're at right now, so that's really great. Another great character that we freely release in my website as well as in my Patreon is Galaxy Chan. Galaxy Chan was the first attempt to create a character back in 2021, I think it was, using Midjourney. So I asked Midjourney, hey, I wanted to create a character, then, you know, she should look like this, she probably is dressing this way, and I want her to be mainly in a violet color. And yeah, I think I generated around 60 or 50 from those pictures. I came down to 5, and from those 5, this was the winner design. The winner design, yeah. Okay, this is again related to what we're going to see today. It's Bella Dagger's attacks. This again was prompted in I think this was in Gemini. I asked Gemini, hey, I want to have this wasp have an attack similar to a ballerina, but she's using her mic as a whip. Well, it's mildly the way I put it, but you know, the prompt was very elaborate. So it gave me this, and from this, you know, came the idea that we're going to create today. We're going to rig her first, and then in another video I'll tell you how to do the whip, because that's gonna take another setup. Today we're going to just rig the body, and then we're going to end the stream. Again, I'm getting used to the buttons again because I have not streamed for 6 years now, and this is the first time in 6 years. So here we have another concept for the short movie I'm planning to do with these two characters. This is the rubber hose B. This was a character I revealed back in 2022, I think. At the time I did not think full story about this world, but then I scripted a short story, a short 7-minute story, and this is where we see Bella Dagger fighting GPB. GPB is this, you know, 1940s rubber hose bee, and at the time when I created it, it did not have a nose. I thought leaving it without a nose, and then I thought, you know what, it doesn't look right for a 1940s or rather 1920s character. I really wanted to be a very rubber hosey design, obviously, you know, taking references for other characters like Felix the Cat, you know, Mickey Mouse, you know, because the old Mickey Mouse, you know, it's now public domain, so you can use the design however you want. So I thought, hey, maybe we can use, you know, some antenna there, you know, some bandana here. Yeah, this was the original idea. Like, Bella Dagger did not even exist in this guy's world, but I thought, hey, what if we do a brawler? How does the starting screen would look like? Like, if she wanted to fight this guy or any of the other opponents or enemies that he's going to confront in the video game, because I'm creating a video game and a short. Yeah, it's a lot to take, but mind that projects like this used to take 1 or 2 years by a single person alone, and this is working, you know, weekends diligently while you take care of everything else during the weekdays. But now with AI, you can do this literally in just weeks or maybe days if you're someone, you know, that has already everything taken care of for you. And you can directly just design, for example, in this case, I prompt this is Higgsfield Nano Banana Pro. Hey, I need this character to create different facial expressions. Please show me what kind of expressions will she do. If she was sad, if she was angry, if she was, you know, surprised, show me. And it is easier for me as a 3D artist to quickly reference that into the actual 3D model. It's faster. Like, I don't have to explore anything. Like, it's not making me think less. Instead, I'm thinking more, faster. And that way I can just, you know, cherry pick. Okay, this works, this doesn't work. Like, the eyes right here are too big. Like, the eyes over here are too childish. the eyes over here are very mean, the eyes over here show sincerity, whatever. It just works. So here's the concept. You can see this is the black and white first approach of the Robert Tune hose ambient, the world itself. And the issue here is that Bella is singing. You're going to see those pictures later. She's singing in the stage, like her songs and all, and then GPP comes along and starts getting problems with these pulleys. They are really buffaloes. They're called buffalonis. So they fight between each other, wrecking the entire thing. And Bella is just so mad because she was singing with real dedication and stuff. You can see her right there. And then GPP is just taking care of business with these guys, buffalonis. And Bella is getting like pissed off. Like, why is this guy wrecking my show? Like, who does he think he is? And well, I'm not going to tell you about it because I'm going to spoil you, but yeah, this is what the entire 7 minutes are going to go around. Yeah, you can see there the crickets in the band and all of that. And now it's really easy because you can give the AI, in this case Higgsville, with NanoBanana Pro, you can give the profile, or you can give this simple picture and tell it, I need a front, a back, and side view of this buffaloni. Make it pose, in a neutral pose with a plain white background. And then you get your images. You take those images into Hunian 3D. I call it Hunian, but it's a different name. You probably know the other sites like Meshy or Tripo, and any of those sites literally just remesh your image. That's great, and the way it works is by voxeling it, and I can go deep into that, but I don't want to bore you. The only thing you need to know is that China has the lead because they have bigger machines and bigger computational power, which has derived basically most of the models we see in the world. So it's kind of like a sequence that where it's referencing whatever you feed it. So the more you feed it, the more intelligent that model in China becomes. And then they sell off these services to other remeshing sites. I'm not going to talk about that, but you just need to know how the technology works, and then I'm not avoiding it, I'm just leveraging it because they allow us to use it. So yeah, something like rubber hose characters like GPB, it's super easy to do. Something like Buffaloni, it's also easy to do. And Bella, it's kind of more difficult because she has more layers, like more clothes. It's not as simple as the cricket, for example, or the scene. Even the scene, you can recreate it in 3D using Gaussian splatting. So here are some other of Bella's attacks, so that you can see that the heavy inspiration that we have for her design, you're going to see that in just a second. It's based off this character's design. So yeah, she basically is a Russian spy with some ballerina classes. You can see her swinging the microphone here. This was a lovely idea, by the way. Gemini, Google Gemini suggested, what, this character should do something dangerous. Why don't we, use her mic as a whiplash? So yeah, some of the concepts for the shorts came out of this frame. Like, this was a I think it back in January 3, I think it was. I finished writing the story, and this was one of the most influential frames. When we saw this, we thought, okay, we have something here, we have something solid, this can work. If you're in the chat, Santos, can you listen to the music? I mean, do you hear music? Is my voice too loud? So let's continue. This is another frame of the short movie. This is the moment where she is like emerging from this violet haze, which, by the way, it's a perfume. Okay, it's a perfume bottle that she uses to practically hypnotize everyone inside the saloon, but GPP broke it accidentally, and now she's very angry at him, and she's gonna punish him, or at least try. And yeah, the little guy just runs around. Right here, the differences in size are noticeable, but basically he's kind of a lot bigger. And right here, he's like throwing water at her, trying to defend himself however he can. This is where water falls into the microphone, and it becomes an electric microphone. And now GPV is in bigger trouble than he was before. And yeah, here's another frame. You can see the different approaches here and the explorations. I'm really happy that AI brought this as a very powerful visualization tool where you can explore the concept. Like, what if her whiplash only, electrifies in the front head of the mic? What if the entire what if the entire whiplash is electric? You can explore all of that, and it's really interesting. Now here we have Bella on her recent music video that I did. Because of the high cost of creating 3D animation inside Higgsville, I only usually do 30 seconds animation, which is good for the promo, and then I use that as part of the actual music video itself. But I need to generate the images that are going to be shown and that are going to be moving in that video, which is one of these frames that you can see right here. She's very sad. She used to work in this for, gambling, attending, the saloon, how those stories are. I don't need to elaborate on those. And then she's brokenhearted because the guy that she was interested, just left her and never came back. Here's another concept I did. You probably know her. This is Synthia Wave. I created her around 2022, and this was the first attempt to port anything from Blender into Unreal Engine. Patrons got this version, and it was publicly published on Gumroad back in the days. And she was a very different design. Like, she had this hoodie over her head. It was a totally different design. But this is the design I was always pursuing, which was a very 80s or early 90s kind of Robotech-y aesthetic for this bionic character. This is another bionic character, bionic girl, because in the bigger story that I'm writing, bionic entities are the only ones that can time travel. And I'll leave it at there because there have been a lot of controversies here in the USA about time traveling lately, and well, anyways, let's just leave it at that. Anyway, so here we have the satellite which is responsible for creating these bionic droids, and Synthia Wave is one of those. And you can see how this is actually useful when you use AI, because you can feed the 3D face, or actually the 2D concept, into Higgsville, which is Nanobanana 2. By the way, you have a lot of models inside Higgsville, so anytime I say Higgsville, I'm referring to all of the models there. Hey, welcome, genetically gamer. Welcome. Yeah, ballerina cappuccino. She's a Russian spy. We mentioned that. Alright, so I was mentioning that if you have a character, then you can prompt Higgsville, hey, I need a front, side, 3/4 left, 3/4 right, back, and top view of this character's head with a white plain 2D background. And that's it. And once you get those heads, you can easily change their appearance, and you can easily also generate the 3D necessary views, so that your character actually generates in those meshing services like Meshi or Prepo or Union. I actually use Union because, as I mentioned before, Chinese companies have a lot of more trained 3D data. So let's continue. We're halfway, 38 of 62 images, and then we'll start doing some rigging. I'm just giving everyone time to catch on with what has been 6 years of non-streaming, so thank you very much for being here. So here again we have Synthia Wave, and you can see again the influence for the 80s and early 90s influence in this style. And this is exactly what I want to portray or recreate with Synthia Wave, and therefore I'm going to be redesigning her head again for the third time until we finally get this right. And this will also be a good opportunity to mention that back in the day I was really trying to rig something from Blender into Unreal Engine with direct output, but it wasn't possible. It was difficult, and Unreal Engine had a lot of caveats that you had to jump around, the hoops around, and it wasn't really working. That's when I decided to create RIG2U5. This is another character concerning that universe that I just mentioned before. And this is called Viper's Sting. The deal with Viper's Sting is that she's a pilot, and as you can see, we have different faces, expression faces, and you can see more of her character exploration right here. And as a matter of fact, I have a video talking about how you can create better concepts by basing something realistic against something unrealistic, depending on the measure that you do this on your character or in the background or with your shaders or with your composition. It's going to give amazing results. That's why we love anime, because we actually see the art in it. And may I remind you, I have 20 years of experience creating public advertising, VFX for movies, and animation, 3D animation, and video games. So yeah, there are techniques, there are stuff that we need to know in order to portray our characters with a conveying message or a conveying personality right off the bat. These again are old works from back in the day when we used to stream more often than not. Here again we have MCA. This is the name of the influencer character I created. As you can see, it's super realistic. This was back in 2020, at the end, of 2023. Yeah, you could get really good with those influencers. And yeah, she's a singer, and we have a lot of her songs already ready to be edited and uploaded to my new channel, which, by the way, I make the invitation so that you can visit. It's 3D Cine TV _music in YouTube. So you can visit the channel, subscribe, and it will do a lot of goodness so that I can keep uploading music there and soundtracks, which I'm planning to release, because I know that if you're developing your own video game, sometimes it's difficult to find a kind of peculiar music, that is suiting, that is, adventure going, or maybe dramatic. I'm going to be creating a dedicated playlist so that you can easily just grab the music and use it. Of course, there are some, copyrighted music that I'm creating, but most of the music that I would like to give away is, music for your video games, and I will be super happy to provide that as a value in this new channel that I'm creating. It's only got 5 subscribers, so I'm not asking desperately, but I am. Alright, so let's continue. Yeah, that's MCA, and she's an influencer, she's a singer, and you'll be seeing her soon in some of the videos. Okay, so we're back on 2020 on the WinFox course, and this is Fixie. As you can see, most of the channels in Blender 3.6 had some issues at the time of exporting to Unreal Engine back in the days. That's why I delay, because everyone in the course was asking, Mr. Schiller, when will you be releasing the new update for the course? And Blender kept changing its API, stuff kept breaking in Unreal Engine. It wasn't the fully, well, not really fully, but it wasn't the engine that we have today. Like nowadays, since even Epic is a donor or a Patreon for Blender, they have like much integrated actions now. There used to be a lot of repositories and tools between them back in the day, but now they have been discontinued because they also got tired that Blender had to make a lot of updates during the year. The normal thing is that you expect 1 or 2 updates a year for any kind of software, but Blender does up to 3 or 4 updates in a year, and that hurts the industry in a sense, because it doesn't let new people come and adapt to the tools, and it leaves behind old people that are already using the software or are already in production, and they have to hold on with the actual LTS release for 1 or 2 or 3 years, and well, that's another can of worms to be talked in its own time. Let's continue. This is S4. This is the other Bionic girl, the most recent one, Bionic Cowgirl, that I developed back in 2024. And yeah, she's another character which I pretend or intended to port directly from Blender into Unreal Engine to create my games. But I always kept, hitting walls, breaking things, and I just got tired of that. That's when I got in contact with Thinkerboy, who is another very well recognized guy in the Blender community for developing add-ons, super helpful add-ons for animation. So we got to talk, and I told him, hey, I got this project. Maybe, just maybe, we can solve this big issue that users have in Blender, and they have a difficult time sending their rigs into Unreal Engine. Nowadays, Unreal Engine offers modular tools which you can construct your rig, by the way, so it's much easier than back then. But back then, when we coded the first version of this, we kept hitting, difficult things here and there. But everything got polished. We finally got it to publish it, and it's available on the Blender market now, and it works perfectly. And of course, you have support, technical support for RIG2U5 in my Discord channel, which you can see in my info bio card here in YouTube. So you can visit Discord anytime and ask anything you would like about RIG2U5 or any of the new tools that I'm publishing as well. Oh, this is a great one. This is a great picture because in the transition from Blender 4.0, sorry, it's to 4.5, compositor nodes were a biggie. And then I said, all right, let's grab those compositor nodes and create something stylized, like not just a shader. Let's just work at pass level. Let's work at, camera level. Let's work at scene level and compose those effects on top. Like, how would it look like? Because I really, just as I mentioned before, I'm really after the late 80s, early 90s anime style. So I created this this effect which glitches the screen, but not glitches in a way that it's like an electronic glitch. No, it's the regular 80s CTR scanline distortion. You cannot really see it here because compression is going to wreck that, but maybe you can see some of that here. It's subtle, but you can notice that this does not look like a 3D model anymore. It looks really soft, really integrated, and that's exactly the magic that brings this kind of filters created in the compositor, in Blender's compositor, which now, by the way, also works in real time. Back in the day, the early first inputs of the compositor were really laggy, were really slow, were really primitive, but now they are all optimized to run at full speed, even with real time and the actual hardware that we're using for Blender. Here again is Synthia Wave, and this is the look that I'm after. So probably the new head and the new body is going to look something like this, or at least it's going to take the most important parts and adapt them to the current model. What I see that works here that doesn't work with any of the other anime eras styles is the highlight. The process itself was, drawing on top of the cell, the plastic cell acetate, whatever, the transparent sheet. You use acrylic paint and then start to draw, basically lines. Somewhere along the line, pun intended, someone said, hey, we're wasting time, trying to do a straight line. That's not like artistic. That's not going to captivate anyone's attention. Like, why don't we use the brush and deform along the way? Like, make the highlights wavy. And then I got that concept because I was actually trying the physical media. And then I got that concept and said, of course, why didn't we see it before? It is not about, straight lines. It's about wavy, and you can see them right there. It's about wavy, exaggerated highlights. And that's why I published some time ago, highlights are coming. because my method, I'll tell you right now because I cannot show you, but I can tell you. Um, the method consisted in drawing an alpha channel directly, the zone where it's going to affect the shader itself. And therefore, if it catches light, the alpha is going to cut specifically on that zone. So the light is not going to lit the entire leg or the entire chest or the entire shoulder. It will only lit that certain specific area. And since it's an alpha layer, I can underline a second contrasty shadow for that highlight. So yeah, you can stack up different layers and then you can create those exaggerated, stylized highlights and shadows in the model. Let alone the side you have to, create the banding, the tone banding, flat shading. And yeah, stacking all of those things was the purpose of Synthia Wave. You can see it right there. It's working. This exact concept that I have explained, it's working right here with Synthia and her design. But you can further stylize it with this alpha method, overlaying on top of each other. You can see it right here. When I asked the AI, hey, can you generate my render, my 3D render, can you regenerate it with this exaggerated, highlights and stuff? And this is what I got. So I said, okay, the method works because if it doesn't take that much for the AI to recreate this with exaggerated features, that means I'm really close. And the only thing that I'm missing is just, dedicating the time to actually draw and test lights from all directions to get this kind of a stylized angles. I don't know, I don't think you can see my cursor, but anyways, around the shoulder you can see that. We're almost done. And yeah, so I took Synthia Wave and regenerated her in that specifically 80s and early 90s style, like Robotech, like Tekkaman, Blade, influence and stuff. And it works. It actually shows that the design is good, the design holds, and this bionic girl can have this kind of anime stylization. The only thing I need to change now is the head and the hair. Circling back to what I mentioned before, that when you're watching anime, there's a layer that tells your subconscious, hey, pay attention, there's details here, realistic details. And then there's a conscious level attention where it says, hey, this is simplistic, take a look at this. And when you contrast that subtle information, subtle details, realistic details against flat, non-interesting color zones, it creates a contrast, something that you cannot define with your eye or your mind, but you definitely see, hey, something there is working. And that's what you can see right here, which is another 3D model that I created for Viper's Sting, where I mixed the solo leveling technique, where they emphasize metals, they emphasize glossiness, and they emphasize roughness over the entire design. And that's why you can see that her pants really stand out from the rest of the design, but it is coherent to what she is, because she's a human pilot in this case. And you can see the contrast here, and this other design shows the proof that I'm talking about. Here we have a more simplistic design. Hey Keanu Steve, thank you for coming and welcome. So here you can see a more simplistic design that still works. It still looks anime because everything is flat, just with one level of shadows. And we have another contrast here. We're almost done with this presentation, and then we're going to get to rigging. Here we see a Viper Sting in a more neutral background, because even background influences the way you see the character. When you have a contrasty, like black background, dark background, the subject is able to, have a better perception of its entire design in your eyes. And right here, it's exactly the same flat version stuff, but with a different background. And you can see there's more integration. The hair is a little bit pale to make comparisons with the before and afters. You can see now in a darker background, the hair looks more contrasty and everything looks like different, but it's the same value. I only changed the background. So this is just again to show that you need to like really manage all of your what I call the depth perception. You know, objects that are closer to the camera should be, you know, brighter, and objects that are way back in the background should be darker. And that applies, that same principle applies for your character as well. Whatever thing that your character has that you want it to be, you know, be reminded of, you should, you know, kind of detail it more, bring more attention from the eye, from the spectator eyes into it, while the other rest of the areas in the body may probably have more simple designs, and that's the approach that we're going to take here on Bella Dagger. At the beginning of this stream, I told you now we have the power to bring stylized toon shaders into the web, and I'm putting my mouth where my pictures are. So you can see right here, this is the first prototype I was working this entire week using Claude, recreating everything we have shown in my channel packing, shader stylization, outlines, everything, and bring it into the web. So I created controllers to drive the rim light. I created controllers to bring the shadow threshold. Yes, it is possible to create shadow thresholds even in web. That means that whatever you create in Blender, you can output it into the web. You don't even need Unreal because 3JS is the way to go. I intend to publish another video about it once the prototype is working. Yeah, this was just a session between Sunday and Monday, and between those days I ate my entire Claude's quota. So I have to wait until Friday until it resets, because right now I'm out of quota and I cannot use it. But here's the intended design, and you can see that you can add the background image right there, and then you can move around. As a matter of fact, I'm planning to put this on my website as a new Splash web page, so you can use and play with the character right there in your viewport, in your not viewport, in your browser. That's what I meant. And you can double click her head and something will happen, double click on her body and something will happen. But the thing, or the general idea here, is that if you can create it in Blender, rig it, you can now export it through GLB to the web and use stylized toon shaders, and I intend to show you how to do that, so make sure to subscribe. Here we're back into the for normals to RGBA, which was a tool I recently developed, so that you can groom your geometry nodes fur and instantly bake it with just one button. The only two requirements are that you have a UV, you know, already unwrapped UV head in this case, and obviously your groom. And with those two things, you can just push one button, bake furs, and it will automatically bake the fur. You don't have to duplicate, you don't have to like trigger here, create another node there. No, forget about that. We're in 2026 and I intend to bring you the most easy way so that you can work in your fur characters. Because I know there's a lot of people who have told me, and also I read on the commentaries on the sections in Reddit and other places where VTubers are. They always say, you know what, we don't have a reliable way to create, you know, fur, actual fur. We can, you know, infer it by creating curves, you know, extruding, you know, using the usual method. And it looks good, but it looks toonish. What if you could have a tool that will allow you to bake fur? So that's why I created that tool. Here's another capture from back in 2020 when we first saw, this was Grand Blue Fantasy. And the shaders and the models there were just magnificent. I think this model was around 124K just for her polygons alone in the body, which is really optimized given the case that the hair and the rest of the articles there, the rest of the items there are very detailed. Yeah, but Grand Blue Fantasy characters range from 120K to 185K polys. And that's a lot to have something moving in the screen. But the most remembered, and this is something I wanted to address, the most remembered character was Zeta. Zeta, whatever. This girl. Because someone asked me, hey, how do you do the gradient? Like, why is this gradient working correctly? Like, we don't have shadows under the hair, but we have a correct gradient down here on the chin and under the neck. How does that work? So yeah, it's basically roughness. Where you don't want something bright, you're going to paint it in I think it's white. And where you want something brighter, you're going to paint it in black. I know, I need to show it, but that will be for another stream. Alright, 62 of 62, and we're back to the beginning, and finally we can switch into Blender. Let's go. Alright, so we have Blender. I just updated my driver, so my NVIDIA driver, so if anything crashes here, it's not my fault. If you're watching this, thank you so much for joining. My name is Pierre Schiller. I am a 3D animator and VFX compositor with over 20 years of experience, and I love to do stylized stuff. And I'm also creating new Blender tools to help you between Blender and Unreal Engine so that you can give that definitive step to creating your own video games with much ease. Because if you already know how to pilot Blender, it's going to be super easy to port it into Unreal Engine. So let's go. I'm going to bring my tool, which is RIG2U5 right here. And I want to start this from the beginning because I need you to watch the entire process just the way anyone would do it. Just for reference, I'm going to create the monkey head so you can see it. Whoops. Shift S, and bring the cursor to the world origin. Oh, you can hear that jazz song. Can you? Can anyone confirm, please, if the music is being played? Maybe there? All right. Yeah, that's Bella singing, by the way. All right, so we are first of all, we need to make sure that all of the items are correctly scaled. So you can see right there, the location it's failing. So if you get this, you need to actually apply the scale and the rotations. So I'm going to just grab this GZZ and place it over here because that's the intended position. Now let's grab that and Control A and apply all transform. So we want the origin right there because we're going to scale it in just a second. I'm going to select the entire body and just go back into a neutral with wireframe so that we can see what we're doing. Yep, right there. And I'm going to apply all the location rotations and basically all transforms back to the origin. The head is a little bit special because this head was rigged using Faceit, which, by the way, I have the process of the video now. I will be publishing it later. But you can see that all 52 Arcade blend shapes are included there. So for all of the patrons, supporting patrons are going to get this model, by the way, today, because today's the 29th. I need to hurry. This is why I'm going to keep streaming. Thank you so much for joining. 66 people are right here. Finally, we're going to get to the rig part. And yeah, so you can see that the location here is not corresponding to something like we're going to be using because it's on the neck. And also the scale, you'll notice that it's 0.95. That's not gonna work for us. So let's just grab the head, Control A, apply all transforms, and now the transforms for the head are going to be placed on the floor. And this is the way all of the meshes that are going to be ported to Unreal Engine need to be, okay? Oh, by the way, in this stream, we're going to recreate her materials because that has been a long do. I always told you, one day I'll stream, and I already explained many things got in the way, and I never got to stream those things. Next thing that we notice is that her tail is literally, hanging loose, like it's not jointed. And another thing that you're going to notice today, just for today, is that we're not going to fully rig the skirt. But actually, in Unreal Engine, we can do a couple of things to solve this, even assigning cloth to this. But right now, we're going to keep it simple, just so that you know that the RIG2U5 tool works. Listen to that part. Poor Bella.
Just one call, Johnny. Roll 22 red again.
Yeah, that's super sad. Anyways, I hope you have heard what she just sang. I hope that the music is streaming. So let's continue. Okay, so we have our head and it's correctly named. By the way, the name that you're receiving on Unreal Engine is not this name, it's this name right here, okay? So make sure that every part is correctly named. Like, for example, this is called lace, and over here it's called RIG2U5. No, this is going to be shoulder, I don't know, wraps. And then just drag and drop this over here. Yeah, take your time and identify everything you need to identify, because it's just so much useful when you're in Unreal Engine and you don't know what thing does what. So I'm just going to leave this hanging, because I need to show you one of the functions that we have in RIG2U5 that are going to be very useful for these cases, and also for this case. Whoops, there are two. I hope that was the right one. Let me just go back. Yeah, I guess that was the right one. Okay, so that's the front dress. And the lace we have back here. A front dress, and then we have the actual skirt. And then the Dagger body. Okay, so we have everything in place. Again, this head is already containing the 52R kit blend shapes. Let's just trigger one so you can see it. Let's see, maybe an eye squint. Yeah, there you go. You can see it right there. And blinking is there. I usually don't do this, but just for this session, I'll just send her like this. Usually I'll create an entire bone rig around her face and also include this. So that way I can animate in Blender whatever expression is not containing the 52R kit blend shape, and then I can exaggerate it and create other things. Okay, so yeah, I think we have everything we need. So let's go to the tool, RIG2U5. This is how you're going to see the tool. By the way, I'm using Blender 4.3, but there is a version working for Blender 5.1. So you can easily install it. So you can see this is the extension that works as well as an add-on, and then you can have the info right there, the settings right there, and the resources, so you can read the documentation or report a bug. Everything it's neatly organized. So I'm going to show you what the panel is all about. If you have previously created a rig and you're working in a new scene, you have a way to import your previously created RIG2U5 so that everything auto connects and everything can, just continue to workflow in this new scene for whatever reason. Say when you append a file, or when you import another model and you want to assign the rig to that model, you will need this. You have the guidelines right here, and then we have this, the drop down, which actually shows us the templates that we can use to jumpstart into any of the poses that we are showing you here. So we have a T pose, an X pose, a U5 A pose, and a U5 rest pose. As of now, May 1st, if you're watching this later, but as of now, April 29th, 2026, when you export an FBX from Blender 4.5 or 5.1 into Unreal Engine 5.7, you don't have the issues anymore that you need to include an extra animation that is called the rest pose. You don't need that anymore. That has been solved. However, in Unreal Engine 5.6 and Unreal Engine 5.5 and 5.4, you still need to create that basically still pose with 2 keyframes, one keyframe in frame 1, one keyframe in frame 2, holding the same rest pose. But you don't have to do that anymore because I'm going to be working in Unreal Engine 5.7. So let's create the U-rest pose, or the U5A pose, which I think it's more fitting for our character, since, you know, you can see it right there, it's an A pose. And then just click create U5 meta rig, and it's going to ask you, hey, do you want to include your facial bones? No, I don't. And do you want to set up the scene? I do. So just click OK, and it's going to set it up. Now, what has happened? As you can see, our entire scene size has changed, and our little Bella is way down here. So what we need to do is just grab her completely. Whoops, let me just get out of this. Grab her completely, and we're going to scale her using the, not local, but the, I think it's cursor, where, here we go. Transform pivot point, 3D cursor, and we're going to circle to item, and you can see the scale right there. We're going to scale her from the origin, which is in this case the pivot point, and then we're going to use the scale tool. So let's just scale it to 100. Whoops. I think I selected the... yeah, that's what's going on. No, I just want to select her. So let's go. 100. Hey! Okay. That should work. Yeah, that should work. Scale to 100. Huh. This is weird. You can see right there I'm scaling. Why doesn't it scale by 1, maybe 10? No. Oh. I think I know what's going on. Transform orientation and medium point. Sorry. My bad. No. Okay, so let's just do it the old way. For some strange reason, it's not working. Did I miss something? It's weird, so weird. Anyways, let's do it by hand. I don't want to waste any more time. Okay, so let's yeah, that's like the actual size. 50. That was weird. Okay, from here it's all about setting up the rig. So I'm going to select this. I'm going to go back to RIG2U5, and you can see we have a lot of options here to create a bone, or to create or integrate an extra mesh or extra rig that we have created with RIG2U5 or with any other weight, vertex weight method. And we can also delete the entire thing that we have set up. And lastly, we can generate the U5 rig after editing the bones positions. So that's what we're going to do right now. Make sure that you have this symmetry. Sorry, I was looking for the word. You have that symmetry active. So yeah, let's go and create, not create, actually, let's go into wireframe. That's much better. And let's align this to the level of the arms that we have right there, because this is what RIG2U5 requires for you to orient those bones correctly. And you're going to notice that I did not merge the dress. Again, I'm going to be using something that we have in this tool so you can see how easy it is to rig this kind of stuff. I was talking to somebody the other day, and then they told me about the rigging process I usually do. Like, I usually set my pivot point on some of these axes, whatever. And they told me, no, you shouldn't do that. You bend the abdominal area here, you bend the waist area over there. And I told him, well, yeah, I know that, but it works on my results. And I'm just saying that you can use whatever method works for you as long as the rig holds. So don't be afraid to really manipulate your setup as long as the rig holds. It means it doesn't break, right? As long as your rig doesn't break, just go with what you have. Yeah, this is another mistake I used to do. Like, I used to grab the entire thing and just bring this guy back, but I found out that causes a lot of issues. It's better that you go back into object mode, bring this guy back, like over here, and then just apply, because you're gonna have changed some of the attributes there. So just reapply things, so this will be the center, and then go back into edit mode so you can continue the work. Hey, Strange 8791, thank you for coming in. I don't know if the scene just frozen or you're not just showing the correct screen. Whoops! Ah, thank you so much. Gosh. Oh my. See, I told you, 6 years not streaming does things to your brain. Thank you for talking, for reporting that thing. Sorry. Okay, just to head back a second, I'll do this again because you guys deserve it. So I'll delete this. Delete all the rigs and reset the scene. Okay, so I was mentioning that we have Bella, Dagger, ready for rigging, and I compare her with her actual size, which was very small. Then I scale her to a 50% scale to get her on this size, and from here I'm going to load the RIG2U5 templates. I have a U5 rest pose, U5 A pose, and this is the one that I'm going to be using. And then I click on create the U5 meta rig. It's going to ask me if I should be using a face rig or just to set up the scene. I'm not going to be using the face rig because I already mentioned, but I don't know if you saw it because obviously did not go back. Bella has a 52 arcade blend shape ready on her face, so we can see her already working there. So we only need just one bone for the head. Thanks for the restarting. I was really yes. No worry. I mean, that's the idea of live streaming, guys. And thank you so much for reporting. What I really need your help on right now is to tell me if you're listening to music at all or not. Is the music too loud or not? Alright, so again, GX, so that we can, lock it into that axis. And as I mentioned before, now that we have the template, we're only going to organize the bones in their correct proportions in regards to our character. And also don't forget to activate symmetry up here. So in edit mode, we're going to edit the bones that are going to be our actual rig. And I was mentioning that the other day a guy told me, hey, you should put this pivot rotation here, there and stuff. And I told him, yeah, I've been doing this for like years, and I put my pivots where I understand that my character is going to be bent. And then yeah, he said, well, you actually put your pivots here and there. And then we were talking about this. And what I wanted to say about that point was that you guys can put your pivot points wherever you need them to, as long as it works for your rig. There's not really a defined rule for this. As long as your limbs bend in the right place, then you have nothing to worry about. You can see that this leg, for some reason, it's kind of like bent. Let me show you. It's kind of like, whoops, let me just turn this up. It's kind of like this, okay? But while you're editing the bones, what you're going to try to do is to bring the feet inside so that you can get the actual, whoops, sorry. We need to symmetrize this. Not symmetrize, work with symmetry. So yeah. Summary. If it doesn't break your rig, put the pivot point where you need to. Okay, I think this works. Let's go for the side view. Yeah. This is something that I was mentioning too. Back to object mode. Okay, this is a mistake. If I grab everything here and then bring this back and then, you know, leave it on the position and then apply the rig, we're going to get errors. As a matter of fact, I'm fearful now that we're going to get errors because this was not a clean scene. But anyways, let's resolve them as we go along. What I was mentioning was that you go back to object mode, and in object mode you correctly localize or position your rig. Make sure, for example, that your hips hit the leg and all of that, and the spinal cord also, you know, corresponds to your character. So in this case, yeah, I think we can use this and adjust it. And now that it's there, you have, you know, location altered. So Control A and apply all transforms. And then let's go back into edit mode and continue to edit this Bella Dagger character. She's a singer, she's a Russian spy, you know, working in a saloon for plot motives that I will not reveal or spoil to you. But yeah, she's a very dangerous spy. Now you're going to notice that my character doesn't actually have fingers. I do not have fingers. It's just a globe. It's a globe because she's going to mainly grab the microphone with this globe. So I thought, you know what, we're not going to waste time, you know, creating fingers. So how do we deal with characters that do not have all of their fingers, you know? Let me just orient this the right way. So what do? Well, we can actually leave those fingers there, or we can take them further apart. Since this is the pinky bone, the pinky finger, you can leave that one there. But if you want, maybe we can remove this ring finger and take it out of here. You can, you know, just draw it out, or maybe draw it back. I don't know. Maybe you can scale it. You can just move it out of the way. If you delete it, then the rig will break. Do not delete it. Just scale it and send it back, so that way it will not affect anything over here. Okay? That's my recommendation. But since this is a glove and we don't really care for, you know, individual bone weights, I'm just going to leave them there. I'm just going to reorient them in the way that this is expecting. By the way, your modeling should be modeled around this skeleton. It's not that you're going to adapt this skeleton so much to your actual model, but the model itself has to be deformed so that it will match the skeleton. Why? Because when you are in Unreal Engine, and this is a mistake I'm going to do right now on purpose, because if you're in Unreal Engine and then you use the modular rig, it's going to crisp your finger automatically. And since your finger is extended and not crisped, sorry, your finger then is going to look weird when you get there. So I'm going to be deforming this globe just a little later. So let's just continue our process, because all we care right now is just to have this in place. Now, a very useful thing that I use is the not local, but the normal orientation. That way I can correctly see where I'm driving my bone, you know, like forward and back. It's actually forward and back because it's the normal orientation of the bone, if you can say it that way. All right, so that looks good. Let's go to the hips. I think we're going to grab this and grab this. Bring this back. By the way, another important, very important thing is that Rigify works with the minimum 5 degrees difference from a bone to another bone. When you're creating VRM characters, you probably notice that your legs are straight. That's not how Rigify likes to work. Rigify, and in our case, RIG2U5, prefers a minimum of 5 degree angle. So you can bring the knee all the way over here. I think this is a 3 degree angle. But yeah, you don't want your knee 90 degrees like this, or actually 0 degrees. You need at least 3 degree angle difference. If it's like this, well, you're going to get problems in Unreal Engine. So try to make this like this, okay? At least the minimum 3 degrees, not more, not less than that, because you're going to get issues when Unreal Engine tries to do its thing. So let's just put this over here. Mind that the controls for this, it's going to appear for the toe in this area. So it's not really the heel, it's the toe. You need the toe to be responsive to that area. Probably you're not going to get this right, but as you practice along, you're going to see, oh, the neck, for example, is going to start here, it's going to end here. I might probably consider, bringing it back. I'm sorry, bringing it down just a little bit. Now, in Unreal Engine, this is something I need to tell you. We had a hard time figuring why the neck appears, bent, and it's because Unreal Engine likes the neck as straight as it can. So I bid you to always try to make your neck like this, as straight as you can. Because if you bend it like this, you're gonna get troubles over there. It's not going to rotate as you want it. So this is just like a vertebral spine where your neck needs to be straight. I know that Rigify doesn't like that. You might probably try to bend it just a little bit, slightly there. And that's it, because as soon as you get into Unreal Engine, that's gonna give you troubles. Okay, let's review this. Yeah, this, we may probably fix it. A little bit back, a little bit back. Your spine should always, try to be as straight as you can. So let's just grab all of this and bring it back. Once again, I thank you so much for coming into the channel stream. I have not streamed for 6 years. It's been a long time, and we have a lot of new tools to show you. And it's important that you make your questions as you're in the live stream. Let's go. Andre, I'm sorry, I'm having trouble reading. It's Andreas Kruger. Can you set the extra fingers to be non-deformed so that they don't interfere? Yes, you can. Sure, you can. And you just need to go into pose mode, and I think it's this one right here. You come into the actual bone, and then in rig type you see that there's nothing there, but there's the deform checkbox, so you can uncheck it there. I usually prefer to uncheck the deformations after the rig is generated. That way I don't have to, like uncheck here and then uncheck there. No, after the rig is generated, then I can uncheck all at once. But yeah, that's how you do it. By the way, I already have a video that I need to publish. I have a lot of videos, like really a lot, which I have not published because I was telling you about my personal situation back in October, November, December, and it was those months were really difficult for me and for the family, for reasons I've already explained in the channel. But yeah, I have a lot of videos. In one of those videos, I talk about how to rig the face and how to change facial controllers for Rigify, and also so that you can have more granular control on anime eyes, because sometimes just 3 or 4 controllers to blink it's a problem. But if you add up to 6 or 8 controllers to blink this kind of characters, it's easy to make her blink. I wish I could show you the actual Faceit setup file, but I'll reserve that for the video when it's published. But basically, if you have more bones controlling your eyelids, you will have a better time blinking. Like, I get it. I get that sometimes people say, oh, I've been using RIG2U5 and RIG2U5 does not make my head blink correctly. It's a human model. It's not even an anime model, let alone an anime model, like you can imagine. But yeah, it all breaks down to how many controllers you have around the eye. And once you understand and control those things, it's gonna be easier for you to make your character blink at once, first try. I can guarantee it if you use the right controller. So I'm going to publish that video as a short video. It's not even that long. It's a 2-minute video. I'm trying to cut it out into 1 minute. By the way, shorts are now not shorts. They can be used with longer times. I don't know why YouTube decided to do shorts longer than 1 minute, but hey, I'm not complaining. I can finally, you know, put out there some of the content I've been holding back for a long time in vertical format. Okay, so again, my intention is not to be perfect with this, because again, she's going to be just grabbing a whip. So as long as this can be crisped into a fist, I'm all good. By the way, you can visit the channel. I don't know if you can see the previous chat, but you can visit youtube.com/3dcinetv_music, where I'm going to be sharing my music compositions, music soundtracks, and even releasing some of the tracks for your video games, like adventure, you know, dramatic. I don't know, a lot of music I intend to release on that channel for free. Of course, there are some other musics that are kind of like registered, but I will make a dedicated playlist as NCS, like non-copyrighted stuff. Okay, here comes the part where I was mentioning you should deform the mesh to conform to what we have here. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So I'm going to grab all of the fingers, and then I'm going to bring them down to a coherent distance from the hand, so that we can just crisp the fingers themselves. Sorry. Okay, so that looks about right, and from there I can just scale them. So this is what we want, and then I'm going to grab this. Again, I just did this so that we can see how this is working. And then I think that works. I'll take the proportional editing right here. Now let's just move it. I'm going to be moving them from the logo, I guess. Yep. Whoops. I need a bigger. Oh, it was so small. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to bend the fingers somehow. Not exaggerating that much, because again, I'm just doing this on the fly so that you can understand how you need to model the fingers. They need to be crisp. We mentioned that this causes problems if we export as extended fingers and then it's imported in Unreal Engine, because it's going to crisp them in a bad way. So make them just a tad crisp. That's why you have this template, the bone template, so that it can guide you. Okay. You can see that the roll orientation of this bone is not, you know, working against this. So what do? We have the item tab, and we come here into roll, and we're going to roll this, orienting this in the right way. So maybe it's yeah, -160. I can see that right away. And then we need to align all of the rest of the bones to the first bone that has been aligned. So I'm going to select this one, shift click, and lastly this one right here. Then shift A. Whoops, no. And then I always forget the combo. Alt shift A, I think it is. No, shift N. Yeah, shift N. Shift and recalculates the roll to the active bone, which was our last bone selected. Shift N. So there you can see that all of the bones have been reoriented to 160, 160, 160. Everything is, everything is oriented to the original bone selected up here. Okay, that should work. Recalculate roll. Anyways, let's continue. I'm going to move this over here. Since we don't have fingers, I don't need to worry about this too much. Just as long as it fits inside the glove, it's all I care for. If you have characters that have fingers, please be mindful of where they bend. I'm just doing this on the fly because, you know, this is a live stream and I don't want to take your entire day here, because rigging takes kind of time. And I always accelerate on this process like 2x and 3x speed, but not today. Okay, we can adjust this one. This is the part that actually takes the most time, you know, adjusting the fingers. And that's why I suggested that you always use normal. That way, if you grab a bone and that bone is going to actually show you, hey, my up or my down is in this way. So after it relocates, you know, it redraws the normal thing, the normal orientations and stuff. Okay, I think that works. Shift and active bone, so everything is, you know, rolling on the same orientation. Let's do that again over here. So that's how I want it. I want it aligned to the actual roll that we're going to use there. I'm not going to be using fingers in Unreal Engine, so therefore I'm just doing this on the fly. But I do have another character, which is another stream that I'm going to be doing soon, which has tails, ears, and fingers. So you're going to want to watch that as well. Subscribe to the channel so that you'll always get notifications whenever I go live. Okay, so let's select 1, 2, 3, and this is the last one. Shift N and then reorient to the active bone. That's it. That's all we need to do. Let's just reorient this guy because he's going to need it. Yeah, so Bella Dagger is 1940s spy under the cover of a singer. And as you can see, she's kind of a humanoid. She has a humanoid rig. But YPB, which is a rubber hose character, will have RIG2U5 rubber hose toon limbs. And you'll also want to subscribe to the channel so that you can see how I'll rig him, because that's another rigging session I'll be doing live. I really want to recover or kind of set the time to live stream again, because I have not streamed for the last 6 years. It's been a long time and I was remembering how to do that. Also, I don't know if any of you use TikTok. The TikTok live stream studio has a lot of great tools for streaming, so that's probably what I'm going to be doing next, simultaneously streaming in YouTube and TikTok, because those the studio tools that they have, they are amazing. They like literally designed to live stream easily, you know, locations, screen presets, what they call scenes and stuff. Okay, I think this can work just a little bit to the right, like that, and shift click, shift click, shift click, shift N, and align to the active bone. That's it. We're almost done. We're almost done here. Thank you so much for joining this. We're going to be porting Bella Dagger, which is a character that we've developed to use a whip. And the interesting thing here is that you're going to get a shorter video version of this with her whip rigging. Yeah, you can rig using RIG2U5 tools and send the whip as her weapon, which also is rigged and will behave like a weapon whip in Unreal Engine. Now for that there are a lot of techniques, but I personally like to handle those kind of things manually. I could send rope, I can send a cloth, I can send other information data so that the whip behaves like a whip, but you know, this is animation, we are supposed to animate these things, including whip attacks. Okay, so let's select, Shift N, and then recalculate the roll to the active bone, which is the last bone selected, that already you know. And there's also a way to align, I don't remember, I think it's armature, transform, it's align bone, Control Alt A, that's the one that I was looking for too. See that? It's they all align in one single, whoops, in one single orientation. That's important too. Let's reorient this like that, and then 1, 2, 3, Shift N, and now we have it. And now, since we're in normal, that's why I was using this. Let's bring this back over here. It's easier. The knuckles, that's the word that I was looking for. All you need to do is to, you know, align all of these little circles in the knuckles, so that way you can correctly deform. One thing you need to know about Rigify, or actually Rig, is that this bone, what is important about aligning this bone with the roll, which is the correct way to do it. It is important because this defines the angle in which the bone entirely is going to rotate. So if this thing is, you know, has a bad roll, you're going to get a bad crisp roll. This one decides the crisp, how to crisp the finger, how to bend the finger. So it is important that you locate it with as much precision as you can. And we're done. I wish there was a function where I can just grab this, you know, right click, relax. They will all just relax. But you know why it cannot be possible? It is because the bones are not a geometry type inside the Blender DNA. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get a little bit geeky right now. Yeah, Blender DNA, which are basically core functions of the application, do not consider bones as geometries. They have some of the properties as geometry, but they are themselves not a geometry, and that's why we cannot roll their axes, or we cannot relax them, or we cannot do other things that normal or regular geometry has. There are some advantages and some disadvantages about that, but I'm not going to cover them right now. All you need to know is that bones need a lot of fixing in Blender, and hopefully now that Anthropic has become an official partner, an official Patreon for Blender, the Blender Institute, I hope that Anthropic solves those issues with their funding. Not that they're really going to code anything, but you know, their funding helps to code solutions for Blender. Okay, so yeah, there we have it. This one's very important as well. This bone back here needs to be in the middle of your foot, just like that, just a little bit like that. All right, so let's go into the top. The top works. I think this one is just a tad misaligned right there. Okay, I think that works. Just a little bit up. Okay, that's looking great. This knee over here, for some reason, it's like 3 kilometers away. Her legs need to be kind of straightened. Just like that. I think it's best if we just grab all of this and then SXX0, enter. Okay, that looks good. So let's save this just like it is. And finally, let's go back into RIG2U5. Now we have created our rig. We did not create any extra bones, but we are going to right now. Okay, this was our template, and we modeled the entire thing around the template. You'll notice that I have not added any skirt bones. I have not added any lace bones, any tail bones, or any antenna bones. Let's add those right now. I'm going to select this guy right here because I want all of my bones to be created from this point. Shift S, and then I'm going to send the cursor to selected. So every bone I create, they will be born here. And this is where this part comes in handy. It's just a basic super copy. This is the most basic kind of bone with deformation and transformation gizmos. So yeah, this is what we want. So we're going to add a bone and automatically adds a bone. It doesn't have any name on it. And there's another rule here that all of these new bones should be created under a special visibility layer. The template bones are created, and those bones are identically or kind of automatically assigned to their own visible layers. But these new bones do not have visible layers, so we're going to create a new visible layer for Rigify to manifest or show it whenever we click on the visual icon to show or hide the bone collection. So let's first parent this, assign its own category, but right now it's a basic super copy type, and we're going to call this antenna, and we're going to orient this, and this is going to be a child of this guy over here. So Control P, keep offset. Let's just use this over here. And one quick way to do this fast is subdividing the bone once you have named it. I seriously recommend you name all the bones with the right nomenclature, with the right names. Like Blender expects you to have left and right nomenclature names. I think this would be good, but just to make sure, let's activate the visual feedback in axis, so that way we exactly know where to roll this. Back in item, let's roll this and orient them as such, because this is going to matter once we are on Unreal Engine. It's going to matter how we orient the bone so that the axis will roll or will dump. In this case, the antenna will, damp, spring, like a spring bone, because that's literally what we're going to create. And it's actually easy in the component section. You're going to see that. I'm going to be streaming like a lot of time, for a long time. This is a 3 or 4 hour stream, by the way. So if you want to join me, or if you want to, take a break, go and grab your stuff, because this is going to be a long one. I really want to show you the entire process, and it's important that you ask questions. So, the bone name. This is antenna 01. Oh, yeah, that's another thing. Anyways, 01L. And this is antenna 02L. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna matter too much, because right now I'm going to select it, right click, and then subdivide it, and then reposition this using, again, the normal orientation, so that what you see here is the actual line of orientation. That's what you are going to be using. So let's subdivide here also and bring this down here. And I think this covers it well. Right there. Make sure that this is kind of aligned. And early when I was trying this model, I realized that I need a base bone here, because if I don't have it, all of this section is going to move as well. So just be mindful of that. If your character has kind of like antenna like this one, you will probably consider having a bone that does not move or doesn't deform, and you can deform the antenna from this point on. So yeah, that's super important for you to consider. So let's rename this thing. I know a lot of people just, you know, take it and rename it with the batch rename. I don't do that. I like to make sure that everything fits. So I'm just going to call Control C to copy, F2, and then I'm going to rename this as such, 02, select F2, Control V to paste the name, change the number, enter. I mean, it's really fast once you get used to it. So we have 5 bones for this. I can subdivide it even more, but I think this will work. I mean, it's just an antenna. It's not a bunny ear. Oh, now I see why people like her. L 04L 05L, perfect. Okay, and since this all is parented into the head, let's duplicate it. Whoops, not duplicate it, sorry. Symmetrize. Right click and select Symmetrize right here. This will automatically create everything with the right side, as you can see, antenna 05R, which is the expected symmetrized nomenclature. And these are all parented to the head. Now let's create their visual layer, their visual toggle in the RIG2U5 rig. Let's go to post mode. Let's grab all of these new bones. These are the brand new bones we have created, and we're going to create a new layer called extra bones. I'm going to press M to move to a bone collection. I'm on pose. I press M. I get this pop-up, and then I'm going to create a new bone collection called extra bones. We need that. This is obligatory. So just create that. And you can see right here in the advanced section of RIG2U5, let me just make this bigger. You can see here in the advanced section of RIG2U5 right there in pose mode, advanced bone collection UI. This bone collection UI is your actual visual representation for the toggles, you know, visually hiding or visually showing in the end side panel once the rig is generated. So what do we want to do here? We want to select the new bones and assign them color. I'll assign I think I usually assign just extra right there. You can see right there, extra bones. It's already selected for us because that was the last collection that we created. So it's automatically selected for us. And now comes the part where I need you to pay attention, because down here, there's the UI layout. And it's going to ask me, hey, what kind of color set are you going to use? Okay, I'm going to assign the colors as extra colors for all of these bones. Also, what is the row that you're going to take? The row number is automatically placed down here, but you don't want to mess with that. You just want to select the color set and then come down here, and since your extra bone layer is selected, you just need to press here. Auto populates it with your extra bones. So from now on, everything that you make, it will be assigned to the extra bones with the extra color set, and the UI row is automatically assigned to number 18. That's it. That's all you need to do. Let's go back to object mode to keep on editing. Now we're going to create more bones. For the tail, I'm just going to make, well, I guess 1, because, you know, bees, or in this case wasps, do have an abdominal, you know, motion there. So yeah, let's go back here again. And then we're going to create a new bone. In the RIG2U5 tool right here. So I'm going to add a new bone. It's right there. And I'm going to name this with F2 tail. Just a simple tailbone. We're not gonna make it much complex. All we want is just, you know, the control to be originating from the tail. So let's parent this. We're going to parent this to, I think, the pelvis. This is the spine 6. This is the spine 1. Yeah, we need to decide where we're going to. I think, yeah, because if I move this, this is going to be like the spine itself. So no, it's going to be here to the pelvis. I'm going to assign this and parent it for the pelvis. So keep offset so that way, you know, it remains where it is. So this tailbone, whoops, sorry, here we go. The tailbone, I'm going to again go to post mode and make sure to press M, and this time I'm going to send it directly to the extra bone collection that we created earlier. That way, when the RIG2U5 rig is created using RIG2U5, that is going to be showing and hiding in the recollection. So let's just fix this, because if she's going to move her tail, or if she's going to walk her let's use global. Her pelvis needs to be a little bit up, and this is what I was mentioning before. Like, I was talking to this guy who told me, hey, you know, your pelvis, your rolling axis should be here and there. And yeah, I told you, as long as it works for your own rig, like, there's not a real set rule on that. Just go back and reiterate, which is one of the features in RIG2U5. You can go back to this stage, rearrange the bones, and then regenerate the rig. This is just fantastic. Like, it's a non-destructive workflow. This is why I've been emphasizing the use of RIG2U5, because not only allows you to have creative control over your rigs and your bone systems, but if you decide, I don't know, later that you did not want just one tailbone, you can go back into this stage, re-edit the rig, subdivide this bone, reassign the weights automatically. You tell RIG2U5, you know, I want to edit this, I want to recreate it, regenerate the rig with that extra bone or those extra subdivisions, or with that extra tail, with those extra ears, whatever, and it will do it. It's non-destructive. It's really great. Let's see. Okay, I think, yeah, I think, oh, okay, I see how this is. Yeah, I think I would like to manipulate the entire weight of the bee's abdomen and the laces all together from this weight. So yeah, basically let's just hide them, because right now I don't want them to be deformed with anything else. And let's also hide this, because right now I don't need that. And as you can see, and this is what I was mentioning before, the skirt is not part of the entire mesh. This is planning. This takes planning for your character, specifically for characters who have skirts. That way you don't have to compromise, you know, multiple mesh editing, and you don't have to compromise multiple weight editing. You can do this one step at a time. You don't have to like worry about, hey, my leg is, you know, moving up and my skirt is not deforming, or my skirt is deforming. but it's not coherent with what the character is doing. So yeah, that's a problem. You should plan to do skirts apart from the body, always. Always. And then join them at a later time. Everyone, I really thank you for being here. The music that you're listening in the background corresponds to one of the videos I did in memory, in loving memory of my son. He passed away last year in June, and the family was very sad because of this event. And he believed in Jesus Christ, and this is what I want to tell you today, that he was a good boy. And everyone in the family was or is trying to heal from this. It's not easy, but we trust that he is with the Lord Jesus Christ now. And if you have not seen that video, well, now you know why it's there. We miss him, yes, a lot. It's not easy, but we are happy that he brought so much joy to our lives and that he lived a happy life. All right, so we're done. I don't think there's anything else besides the antenna and besides the tail. By the way, we need to decide where the actual axis of the tail is going to be, because right now it's all the way up here. Maybe we can bring it like this. Yeah. It's important because this is going to decide how it wobbles, how it wiggles. So yeah, I think that works. That will work. Okay. So now that we have finished the character template bones and the character new bones, we're going to just click generate U5 rig. Everything else you don't need right now. This is just in case that we're going to integrate a previously rigged mesh, because that's another important feature that we have in RIG2U5, that if you bring characters that have already weights and have already bones, you can integrate them, you can mesh, you can combine them together and create the RIG2U5 rig using your other rigs. It will create a new name convention and it will merge them all together so that all of the controls for RIG2U5 will work in Blender and will work in Unreal Engine. Click on Generate U5 Rig and you can see right there everything has been created. And right now we're on the weight session, okay? Because we have 3 different pages. We call these pages, not tabs. We have 3 different pages here, and we have finished editing, and now we're on the weight page session. You can see right there, everything is clearly identified. So what we're going to do is to assign the mesh to the bones, okay? So just click there, and we have 2 major features here. One is weight transfer, which is used to project weights. And the second one is to actually bind the objects to the existing skeleton or the existing rig. I'm sorry, I'm using U5 terminology. I'll select the body and then click Add Selected. And since that's most of the entire thing, we're kind of basically done. So let's just test one at a time, okay? I can just add them all once, create the list here and then just bind weights for everything. But I'll just do this one at a time. So click on bind weights and then it will automatically assign vertex deformation, vertex groups to this skeleton, to this rig. And then you can come here into animate, and you can actually see that it is already ready for animation. So select that, and it's there, it's working. It's perfectly working as you would expect. You grab the hand, as we mentioned before, everything is there working correctly. Now, I have not rigged the head. I have not rigged the rest of the antenna. As you can see, there are errors there. Let's check out the tail. The tail is correctly rigged, and that's great. But something happening to the antenna. The antenna, the rest of the bones are not there, so let's just check out what happened. For the rest of the things, I think it's working. Let me bring the panel here. Yep, it's working at once. So let's go back into the weight list in this case. And let's see, first of all, what happened with the antenna. So as you can see, only one single bone has been generated. So this is definitely something that we don't want. We need a chain. We need a chain, and my mistake was I created this as a single bone. Oh no. So now we're going to deal with the editing bone part, which I was mentioning before. This is very common, so by this point you need to undo everything. You know, it's a mess. You really need to waste time in your workflow, but not in RIG2U5. You can just click here in the edit page, go back to the editing stage. Let's select this this first bone that we have right here, and the basic it's called basic super copy. We should have selected for that a basic copy chain. You need to know about rigified types in order for you to also use this as a tool. So yeah, this is a change. This is not just a single bone. So that was my mistake. So you can do this one of two ways. The first way is to directly, you know, assign it to the bone now that it's been there and select it just as a single bone. You already saw that. And the second one is just select it from the list. This is called basic copy change, and then click assign to bone, and this will immediately change the change type of the bone. So everything that is a chain now is correctly identified inside the rig system. Let's do the same on the other side, but in a different way. I'm going to switch into post mode, and in post mode I'm going to select this bone, and then I'm going to come into the bone. This is the regular way to do it, and then you can see that it's a basic super copy, but you can change this again to a basic copy chain, because this is a chain. You know, it's 1 2 3 4 5 bone chain. So yeah, that's that, and you can do with either method and it will work. You can see right there it's the same thing. Let's go back into edit mode just as I was before, and then I need to click here, update the U5 rig. If I click this, it will automatically regenerate the entire rig. It's gonna go through all of your weights, it's gonna go through all of your setup, your bone collection, everything, and then you're back into weight picking section. And yeah, that's that. And let's see what else we can do. Oh, this one. It's this is why I left this little mesh here. You can see that right now we have covered the first section, which is bind these objects, but we also have this weight transfer option. And what it does is that it cues you to pick the general, in this case body, the general mesh that has already weights, and now you need to add the objects where you want to project those weights. In my case, it's this little pearl, so I'm going to copy from the body and then transfer to the pearl. So I'm just going to add selected, and then I got pearl. You can delete or remove here, or remove the selected item directly with this button. In my case, I have this over there, so I just click here, transfer weights, and it will automatically transfer. I'm going to switch into weight paint now. It's going to automatically transfer whatever weight we had in the body near that section. So I'm going to go, let me just weight paint, sorry, and then I'm going to until I find the chest, or in this case it's breast that is controlling this. Breast L, R, and I think it's spine, somewhere spine 3. It's going to also have some influence. No, oh yes, it does have. I don't know if you can see it. It's right there. Again, thank you so much for watching this stream. This is going to be a long live stream because I really need to pick up again on live streaming, and also because I have not streamed for the last 6 years. We're going to send this from Blender into Unreal Engine. This is a really relaxed and chill session. In the future live streams, I'll try to keep it under 1 hour, so it's sufficient for everyone, because I need to re-tag later on the sections that I did on this stream. Anyways, so yeah, we have that, and it's projected, and that's the cool idea here, is that you can have any external objects that are going to be rigged against this, and then it's going to assign the weight. It's going to project that weight without you having to do much trouble. All right, so now let's go for the head. So I'm going to go out of this mode. I'm going to go back again into the pose mode in which we were before. This is the weight tab. It doesn't really matter where you are, because this is designed to work with any kind of mode automatically. So what we want to do now is to select the head. I'm in object mode, and then I'm going to be binding the rig with these objects, in this case the antenna. Now, in my previous rig setups, I had issues with the antennas because they don't have like a limited area. These bones, weights, influences are going to shoot everywhere, so we may find some influence of this antenna on the shoulder, or probably on the left side of the hip or the rig in the waist section. I don't know, it's very unusual, but it could happen. Anyways, I'll select the head and then just click add Bella Dagger's head, and then just bind weights, and it will automatically weight all of what it sees around it. It will shoot the rays, and then it will find them. It will find the mesh, hit the mesh, the polygon mesh, and then assign a weight. Now let's go into animate, because we're ready to either click here for animation or switch here for animation. Either button does the same thing. So let's switch to animate. Now let's test the head, and as you can see, the antenna now have correct controls, whereas before we made a mistake. But this is the beautiful part. Your rig was not lost. You did not have to recreate everything from zero. You just went there, reassigned the bones, the bones categories, in this case this setup. The antenna were assigned with the correct chain rigify attribute, and it worked. And you can see that the eyebrows, for some reason, got left out. And not only the eyebrows, but also the highlights in the eyes. So let's fix that. Again, you can go back into weight. This is the beautiful thing about it. And if you click here, you will see that they are part of the mesh. Okay, they are part of the mesh, and it is not currently possible to actually transfer, because they are not individual objects. However, you can directly move or assign them. You only need to separate it or break it from the actual rig, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to assign the weights as individual.
Когда прислали нового царя, он очень всем понравился вначале. В тот день кричали женщины «Ура!» и в воздух свои чепчики бросали. В тот день кричали женщины.
Hello, sorry. Something happened on the stream and the screen got frozen. This is weird. It has never happened before. I don't know, maybe it's refreshing or latency time. Anyways, we're back to Bella. And let's go into the animate. We already assigned the weights. Let's try again. And now they correctly deform. And this is all really what we need to do. Again, I'm not doing this on a very detailed tutorial because it will take a lot of time. But you can see that the basic workflow is already working, and we have the tail. But the tail has not been assigned to any weight. And as soon as we do, we may probably, modify some other areas. This is why it is important that you kind of like dissect your own model. In my case, I want to directly assign it into the rig by using just traditional, the traditional methodology. Like this is a wasp tail and it doesn't have any deformer. I'm going to grab this, which is the actual, deforming rig, Control P, and then just armature deform, which basically just assigns the deformator, but does not assign the deformator weights. So nothing is going to happen if I move this right now because, it's not assigned to anything. Oh, by the way, if you need to attach, or I'm sorry, if you need to test this individually while you're in the weight page, you can just detach the from the root rig, and then the bone itself will move. Okay, and then just don't forget to attach again to the control rig, and that way it's always going to obey the main rig. But I have now the armature pointing to these this tail pointing to this armature. And now what I'm going to do is to assign everything like 100% weight on this. And how do I do that? I enter into weight node, but first let me just know the exact name. I'm going to edit mode, select the bone, F2. This one is called def tail. That's what I'm going to use. I'm going to copy that name, come here, edit mode. Don't forget you need to be have assigned the armature deformer for this to work. Coming to the vertex data, vertex group, add a vertex group, Control V, which is going to be pasting the name that you copy from the bone, enter. And down here you have the slider to assign the weights. So in this case it's going to be assigned, it's got to be all the way. Everything is going to be assigned 100% weight. Here we go. And that's it. Now if we go to animate, and then we move the tail is going to move perfectly. Look at that. Now, a lot of people have asked me, Mr. Schiller, are we able to do wiggle bones in here? And the answer is yes, you can do wiggle bones. But the question here is, what kind of bones are going to be receiving the wiggling? Because there are two issues with the wiggle add-ons that we currently have in Blender. One of them is that in order for you to export that wiggle, you need to bake it. It's not going to play real time in your Unreal Engine. Also, Unreal Engine has its own wiggling bones. Therefore, it's important for you to decide where you want to create the wiggle at. If you want to make it in Blender, you need to bake it. If you are going to port it into your video game, Unreal Engine has wiggle tools. So either in real time or as a component. So you need to decide that. In my case, I'm going to be assigning those wiggle bones over there in Unreal Engine, not here. I just need the actual, wasp tail to be obeying this bone, and that's it. I'll take charge of that in Unreal Engine. Yep, right there. Look at that. This is so funny. I'm trying to check the music, guys. So if anyone can listen to the music and confirm that the music is playing, then I'll be super happy to know what's going on. Because right now my music monitor just disappeared, and this is something that I was mentioning before. It's super weird. I have never experienced something like that. I mean, the music is playing, but I do not see the music in my monitor, and that's weird. Maybe. Nope. Can you hear me? Like, I know the system can output music, but anyways, let's continue with this. It's so sad that I don't get feedback. If any one of you are watching, please let me know. It's been 2 hours 19 minutes, and I really need to understand if the music is playing back or not. So let's go back, and everything is there. By the way, right now you can switch to Rigify control switches, which is everything that you have been using all of your life. And you can see down here we have extra bones which cover the tail and the antenna. So if you click there, that's the visibility to turn those off. As I mentioned before, that was the requirement. The music is on. Thank you very much, Chipagio. Is it too loud, or can you hear me normally? Is the music too loud? Anyways, let's continue. So we have the extra bones visibility toggle right there. It's working. Oh, thank you. Thank you. The music is playing fine. Fantastic. So that was, I was worried that I was talking either too low or too loud, and the music was, you know, not really playing back. Alt G undoes the grab, and this is an important thing that you may want to consider when you're creating your rig. When you select your IK controllers, you know, those red controllers, you can come here into the Rigify properties. Here in item, you have a button, dedicated button that says return to RIG2U5. So that way you can return to RIG2U5 tab. That way you're not jumping between tabs, you're just clicking one button. That's another convenience. So I'm going to go back to the Rigify switch types, and from here, whenever you grab this specific control in the foot, then you can click toggle pole on, and that way it will give you the orientation for the knee. So you can orient the knee and the entire leg. This is important because if you want to have, like, for example, this, but you need the knee to be, you know, pointing to another certain direction, you can activate the toggle and then make the knee point over there. This is very important because you know, if she's going to dance, if she's going to do some other things, that is going to be working. Now, as I mentioned before, this is going to be a super long video live stream because I also have motion capture data that we're going to be applying for Bella, Bella Dagger, which is this wasp character. She's not a bee, she's a wasp. That's why she's very lean and, you know, she's dressing like that because she's a Russian spy with the cover-up of a singer. Okay, so here we have her, like, moving. Everything is working. By the way, since she has, like, breasts, you have the controllers right here. But if we were to use wiggle bones in Unreal Engine, you can add an additional bone over here so that they can wiggle naturally when you move the character in Unreal Engine. But in this time, we're just, you know, leaving the usual breastbone controller there. It's not a wiggle bone, so don't you know, like, it's not gonna work in Unreal Engine unless you set a really low, like, wiggle thing. Like, it will just, you know, move just the right amount, like this, and then it could work. But if you place a bigger wiggle, you know, it's gonna look weird because it's not rigged for that. if you want, you can go back into the into the edit page, and then add an extra bone, or subdivide this and identify the bone correctly so that this part will wiggle and maybe this part will be the base. I don't know. I'll let you decide whatever you have to do in your own character. For now, my entire workflow is almost done. We need to do the other part, the skirt. Sorry, I was looking for that word. The skirt and the laces. And since we already have rigged our tail, we want this tailbone to also control the laces. Okay, so we're going to do that in exactly the same way that we did before, and we're also going to assign it. So therefore, we're going to make it up here. Before that, let's go back into weight mode. We are going to activate the laces visibility, which is there, and the knot, the lace knot. And I also left this as a separate part because it's easier. It's easier to, assign weights and then merge all those separate parts, because that's the way you're supposed to do it anyways. Deal with these things individually and then assign the rest as one single bone. So what I'm going to do here, again, it's first of all, rename this, of course. And you can see that we don't have the armature deformer, so add the modifier, or directly just take this, shift click this, Control P, and then just click armature deform, which basically assigns the armature deform to the root skeleton. And yeah, that's it. Let's do the same thing for the lace knot, Control P, armature deform, and that's it. And now that the armature deformer is live, we're going to add vertex groups, and I think this bone was called def tail. Yeah, def tail. I'm going to copy it again, and then I'm going to go back into the object mode to select the lace, and then edit mode while the lace is selected. That gives me access to add a vertex group, Control V to paste it and assign 100% to that. Then I'm going to do the same thing over here to the lace knot. I'm in vertex editing, and then I click assign. And now if I go back to our animate tag, my tailbone should move the entire lace and the tail, but it's not doing it. Maybe I did not assign it, so let's go back to weights, edit mode. Yeah, I forgot to assign it. Grab it, edit, select all, and then assign it to 100% influence, and then finally back into animate, and now it moves correctly. This was the intended behavior from the beginning, and again, I planned this character, to have that pivot point. Let me just hide all of those things. To have that pivot point right there, and you can see that it works perfectly. You need to plan this stuff. Okay, since I don't want to, port like 100 things separately, I need to merge this now. So I'll select this and this. Let me just save another version just in case. 3.6, this is 3.7. And then I want to merge those things and also the tail because it's now being weighted. Control J in object mode. So all of those things are merged. Let's talk about the shoulders, the shoulder wraps. Like you remember we have those, right? Yeah. I'm going to take a risk, and since we already created the entire rig with very much attention to details, we need to decide two things here. The first thing is that if we actually want the weights from the shoulder to project into these things, and if we want the underarm weights to project down here, or if we want to just let live this shoulder wraps alone by themselves, and that they are only affected by the shoulder, just the shoulder bone, not the arm bone. Only the shoulder bone will affect this region. Since that's my original intent, I'm just going to probably project or maybe automatically unwrap and then clean the weights from the arm. I think that's a much better approach. So yeah, let's do that using RIG2U5 built-in bind these objects. So yeah, it doesn't matter where you are, just, you know, select the shoulder wraps, bind this object section, add selected, and then bind weights. It's automatically done. Let's go back to animate. And you can see it's been set. It's right there. So yeah, let's test it. It works at once. Now you have to check out this controller. This is the actual shoulder controller. So let's see. Yeah, it works at once. We'll use that. What about the front or the actual what if you want to move the arm forward? You will use this green controller. Because right now this is on IK control, so yeah, it rolls forward. It's kind of nice. But if you want to make it move like a doll, like a toy, then what you want to do is to go back to the Rigify control switches, and right with this controller selected, you're going to click from IK, you're going to switch back to FK. Okay, we're going to switch back to FK, which means the green controllers are now active, because the colors that we defined right here, if you remember, yeah, they're not here right now, but the colors that we defined previously let you know that all of the green controllers are forward kinematic controllers. So I'm going to grab that control, and you can see the rotator gizmo here, and now I'm moving it like it was a doll. See that? That arm, it's now moving entirely on what I do with the green controls, just like a doll would. That's forward kinematics, and that's why you see it like that. Inverse kinematic means automatic driving the limb, so you can select that over there and just put it back. Now we're back on IK. That's why, you know, you have this rolling, you have this slider here. All the way up represents FK, all the way down represents IK. Super easy. And yeah, and just like the foot, whenever you select this and you activate the toe pull, what you're going to get is the elbow orientation. This is super important because when you're working in IK, you want the toggle, you want the pole orientation for the shoulder to be at the right position. This will determine if the shoulder is pointing down or if the shoulder is pointing away from the body. So yeah, that's super important. Let's just toggle pole off and shoulder goes off. And select this, Alt R, Alt G, and then it will position it where its rest position is at. Okay, I don't think we're missing anything else. It works perfectly. And it's super light, as you can see. The skirt. Oh, whoa. I was forgetting about the most important part, the skirt. So how do we deal with this? Let's go back into the RIG2U5 pages. And let's go back into weights. As you can see, we do not have any kind of bones that are actually going to drive our skirt. We have two options. We can worry about each section. And after we create the bones for each section of the skirt plating, we can then manually or animate it by adding drivers. Because if we want to move the knee up, we want those drivers to copy the knee's rotation so that the skirt will, lift according to the leg's position. But that is advanced rigging. I'm not intending to show you that right now. I intend to show you that RIG2U5 creates a rig, weights your rig, or in this case binds it. You can animate anything you want here, and then you can export this into Unreal Engine. So let's do that. Let's finish the process for that entire workflow so that you can see how much helpful this is. How helpful this is. So what I'm going to do right now is to assign one single weight into the skirt, and I'm going to create two. Let me see, maybe three. Yeah, 3 different bones. I'm going to be creating 3 different bones. One at the sides, at each side, and one at the front. because we already have a tailbone that can drive, you know, the weights back here, and I'm interested in that happening. Now there's another issue as well, and that is that the rest of the body is also going to be affected by those bones. So this is where we get to the advanced section into Rigify, because we can hide the bones that we don't want to weight, and that operation has to be done manually. I'm just showing you the ropes so that you can decide when to use RIG2U5 to do the operations and when to use the traditional Rigify operations to continue your rigging, or your weights in this case. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to go back into edit, because those bones are important, and I'm going to edit the original rig. But since the skirt is a different object, and we are super glad that it is, we are not going to worry about affecting the rest of the knees or the rest of the legs, because this object itself is separated. That's the good part about this setup, that we're going to just target the bones that are around her, like the tail and the 3 additional new bones, and only those bones plus the leg bone are going to affect just this object, not the rest of the body. Let's do it so you can see it in action. However, the entire rig is going to be using this this approach, and because we already rigged using these bones, we can hide them. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to explain, otherwise you'll get confused. Let's grab the tailbone. Okay, that's the most efficient way to do this, because it's being already assigned to a layer and stuff. Top view, Shift D. We're going to create the right side first, and let's roll this. Let's roll this so that we can have an actual orientation. Let me see if I can. Yeah, let's make this very simple, really, because all we're interested in is that the skirt itself works when the leg moves. We don't want to overcomplicate things. You can do there are a lot of skirt rigs that work wonderfully, and most of them are all driven by drivers. That's the way you do it. You usually do it. This is why, this is another reason why I picked Bella Dagger to be shown today first before GPB, the Toon Rubber Host character, because skirts are really like the butter and bread of rigging. Like, everyone once in a while will want this setup to work. So yeah, that's why we're doing it in this session. So our tail bone was duplicated. It was already parented to the pelvis. That's great. And we also have an orientation right here, exactly as the yeah, right there. Okay, I think that will work. Let me just go back to item and roll it some more. It is important how you decide to roll, because that is going to be moving once you get into Unreal Engine. You're going to see that it's all worth it, super worth it, to plan here, animate here, and send everything that you need and add those wiggles in Unreal Engine instead of adding them in Blender. Okay, so let's name this. This is going to be called Skirt 01, or just Skirt L. Yeah, that's much better. Now symmetrize, and therefore this one is called Skirt R. Now we're missing one less bone, which is going to be the front bone for this. For that, I'm going to grab the same tailbone, Shift D, Enter, G, Y, Y, and then forward. I'm going to grab this, or maybe this, G, Y, Y, and then bring it locked into its own axis. And now we have the front skirt bone. Skirt front. Be very, very concise about naming your stuff. Mr. Schiller, this is all a very tangled, visual clutter bones. How could we make this better? In the viewport display, where you have your Rigify Rig tab, in the viewport display, select stick. And that's a much better visual help. And you can also go into wireframe mode, so that way this is not bugging your view. So let's align this. Let's align this over here, maybe here. We don't want the entire skirt to lift up. We don't want the entire skirt to lift up. We only want these parts to be wiggly and moving. All right, that's great. And here comes the part that I was talking to you about. Since we are on the recreation side of things for the guideline, we're going to turn off, just like one of you asked before. We're going to turn off the formation. Why? Because I don't want to automatically deform my legs. I don't want the skirt bones to deform my legs. No, I don't. So I'm going to be selecting them, and then I'm going to come here into deform before regenerating everything. Okay? So I'm going to uncheck deform because these bones are going to exist, but I don't want them to be deforming anything. Why? Because I want to deform those things later, not right now. Otherwise, this bone will, mess up my weights on the legs and stuff. Let's save because, it's a safety security measure. 3.8 in this case, so we can go back to a previous version. That's it. That's all I need to do. And now these bones have been correctly created. However, they will not deform. And since they have been unchecked in the rig creation, every time we update the rig, they will never deform. They will only deform if I go and check them after the rig has been generated. Okay, so that's why it's important, because that way I have control what things and when they can deform. So yeah, that's it. Let me check one more thing. Yeah, I think everything is sound here. So update the U5 rig. And this is going to include these new bones, which by the way, there's a mistake here. Oh, I get it. Yeah. You know what? Let's just go back to our previous session, as I mentioned before. And I captured that error, so that's an important thing. You can hit any of these errors, any of these bugs at any time. And if you have a video or if you have a screenshot, it is very important for us so that we can fix whatever thing you encounter, okay? This is why the button that reports the bugs is included. So now we know that this version needs patching, because the previous versions you can just uncheck deform and it will just generate the rig. Okay, no problem. Let's update the rig, and now everything should be back to, oops, that way. Oh, I think I know what's going on. It says that it doesn't have a type. So let's do that. Let's assign a type before regenerating the rig. Yeah, probably that was my mistake, because I did not choose the regular method as I should have, which is, add a new bone. I just duplicated it and forgot about the it says basic super copy. So what about basic raw copy? No. Basic super copy, it's there. It's got a control, a widget, and it does deform. Whoops. No, it doesn't. I think I forgot to activate it here before. Yeah, this other one does have it active. This other one has it active. Now let's save. Maybe that's my mistake. That's what I did wrong. Okay, so update the rig. And this time it should just, go. Whoops. No. This is a huge mistake. What happened? Let's go back. And I'm glad I'm hitting these bugs in a live stream, because otherwise it wouldn't be a live stream. This verifies it is a very legit live stream. You cannot have tech demos without bugs, someone said in the industry once. Okay, let's delete those. Okay, let's see if that's the issue. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it is. I don't know. And just update the rig. And if the error triggered, yeah, it's something else. It's something else elsewhere. Huh. That's weird. I wonder what would happen if I just add the skirt without, you know, those bones and just project the weights. I wonder. Let's see. It's super weird. I mean, everything was working perfectly. And yeah, I think I'll do that. I'll report with Tinkerboy, which is the coder for the tool. I'll report whatever happened there. We need to check it, but I'll play my cards and let's put all the chips into automatically deforming the skirt. Let's see what happens. So I'm going to just use the bind these objects and add selected. Now the skirt is selected and bind the weights. I mean, I'll be super amazed if this thing works at once. I don't think it will work at once, but anything is possible. Oh my gosh. It works at once. Not perfectly, of course. That's why you need those extra bones. But hey, I'm not complaining. It's working. It's working. So look. I know there are other setups, but this just came out good at once. Is the tail managing the back? Oh, look at that. It's even managing the back of the skirt. All right, I'm not complaining. Let's go. I underestimated the tool. The tool got angry, and we get all this kind of results. All right, so we're done. Let's call it this. Let's call this a complete rig setup. Yeah, it's done. Yay. Whoops, sorry. And what else? What else would we want to test before leaving Blender? Nothing else, I think. Oh, the antenna. Let's try that. Hopefully, it will not deform the entire face. All right, look at that. It works exactly as expected, and you're gonna love this when I put this on Unreal Engine modular wiggle bones. This is gonna look good, and also the tail back here. Okay, so we're done. Let's just oh, the fingers. Someone asked me about the fingers, so yeah, let's just scale this. And as you can see, of course, I mentioned this is a glove. This is a full. We don't have fingers here, okay? So there's no divisions there. We don't need to worry about that. But if you had fingers, then the fingers would just curl according to what I mentioned before, the metatarsus that you have back here. That's the name of the bone that drives the entire hand's finger. Per section. So yeah, what about the thumb? The thumb bends correctly. So yeah, that's everything we needed, because this is the way we're going to make her rig, her whip, microphone whip in the next video. Not now. I just wanted to get you through this setup session. So as you can see, RIG2U5 is super efficient. I didn't have to create extra bones for that additional, skirt. It was just there, and it's going to port just exactly as we intended. Now the front thrust. This is important. So since this it already has weights. I want to project so that this front skirt is going to follow and deform according to the skirt. And this is important. I can do one of two things. I can forget all about that and just directly rig it against the RIG2U5 rig. And then it will, of course, assignate its own weights. But since we already have a skirt that has weights, let me just show it to you. Since we already have a, whoops, what's going on? That's weird. Okay, this is so weird. It's not showing the influences. It's all in red. Oh, maybe it's because this is not the. I think I understand what's going on. I think I know what is going on. Well, let's just move on. And I want to project this, so I'm going to grab this front skirt, click on the rig, Control P, armature deform, and now that this front skirt has the armature deform assigned, I'm going to tell it back in the weights tab, in the weights page, hey, I want to use the weight transfer function. And the way I'm going to do that is by copying it from the skirt. You can see it's correctly identifying the skirt. I want to copy it from the skirt and project the weights to this front skirt. So just add selected and then transfer weights. And just like that, you have your front skirt with the weights of the original skirt. Super, super handful, super helpful. And you can see that it deforms. Well, not perfectly because the skirt itself wasn't deforming perfectly, but it's doing its work. We can make it walk and it will hold. This is exactly what we wanted. Okay, so let's just save this as version. And now we finally came to the part that is the most important one. Mr. Schiller, I already have my character rig with RIG2U5 and I need to port it into Unreal Engine. How do I do that? Well, exactly as before, as we mentioned, you have one single button to worry about. However, if you do not intend it to animate in Blender, there's not a problem at all. You can just click FBX to U5. That means that it's going to be sent. You don't have to select anything. You just have to click the button and it will export the entire thing as it's meant to export. You don't need to do anything else. It will just arrive as you are seeing right here. The size, the controllers, the bones. Well, not really the controllers, but the bones themselves. Or you can create an animation track. This is why we have this specific workspace, which is called animation. And it's designed to animate, the animate workspace, which is this. And you can animate anything you need to create for her as animation clips. And those animation clips are also going to be ported into Unreal Engine. But since right now we're just setting up the baby steps, we're just going to directly export without any kind of, extra tracks. But we can create a little demo track, if you can say it that way. Anyways, just click FBX to U5. Now, if you prefer, you can switch this off and then it will just export the FBX, okay? What's the difference? This is going to be using the native export FBX function in Blender just to export this character. But this one right here, if you activate it, it will activate and send tracks. And that's why it's there, because that way we export animation tracks so that when you animate here in Blender, export, those animation tracks are also going to be exported, and you can also refresh import back in Unreal Engine. Which basically means if you did something like, I don't know, something simple like up and down, and then your game director comes around, then he says, no, we needed her to go left or right. And you can re-export again and don't have to worry about anything else, because that track is going to export and override the previous one if you wish so. and it will refresh in Unreal Engine. Anyways, stop. Let's stop explaining and let's get to moving. Press FBX2U5. It's going to ask you, hey, where do you want me to put this? And it tells you, hey, rest post found. This is because we used the template at the beginning. You remember that. And now we're going to export this, and we're going to call this RIG2U5 FBX export, just because. And we're going to call this Bella Dagger, just like that. Maybe version her, because it's a really smart idea to do so. Bella Dagger. By the way, this is super important. When you export into Unreal Engine, do not use spaces. Do not ever, by the history of ever, use spaces. Mind, you can use underscores for spacing, and that's it. Okay, so let's make this production effective as possible. No spaces, underscore versioning. FBX2U5. And then if you have tracks, it will immediately tell you, hey, you have tracks. I have identified some tracks, some animation tracks. Those tracks have been also exported. And it doesn't matter if it's a 200 frame track or a 1000 frames track, it's going to export it. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to worry about baking. Oh no, Mr. Chiller, I need to bake and I forgot to do this. And the director came and now I have duplicated tracks because one is the baked one and one is the real one is the other layered one. No, forget about that. That's a mess. That's a mess that we have absolute control here in the way that RIG2U5 exports your animation. You only need to worry about what you see in your animation NLA track, and that will export flawlessly. Let's put actions where our mouth is. I'm going to be switching the interface, I hope you can see this, into Unreal Engine. For some reason, Unreal Engine is not refreshing. Let me just quickly create one new capture scene or something. This is weird. Unreal Engine. You should be seeing my updates. Capture method automatic. Yeah, I guess. Nope. I'm moving in Unreal Engine. Can you guys please confirm if you're seeing Bella Dagger's head in the viewport? Because I'm only seeing the hair. I'm only seeing a hair file. A hair mesh, sorry. I do not see the let me just create a new scene rather. Just a second. Hopefully this will work at first try. Otherwise I'll need to restart Unreal Engine, and that takes kind of a long time. So Windows capture, whoops, sorry, no, new scene actually. This is called Unreal. Again, we're doing this very chill because I'm back to streaming after 6 years. Unreal Engine, and the name is already in use. Unreal Engine. All right. So select the window to capture. Unreal Engine window. Okay. Now we have a different window transition. Different window transition. What about simulate? Does it refreshes? No, it doesn't. Guys, I think I need to restart Unreal Engine. For some reason it's not streaming. This is weird. Let me just go back to the Blender scene. Okay. And let me restart Unreal Engine so that way we can see this. By the way, thank you so much for checking this stream. It's been almost 2 hours, I guess. And let me relaunch Unreal Engine. If you have any questions about RIG2U5, any question, please let me know. Or if you have any questions about any other workflow that we have covered here, or about the designs that I've shown you before in the beginning, let me know. I'll be super happy to answer those questions. Or if you have questions about the AI, you know, how the entire workflow for using AI Blender on the 3D design part of things, let me know, because I'll be happy to help you with that. Okay, so Unreal Engine just triggered on my side. Let me see if I can. All right, finally. All right, guys, can you confirm if you can see Unreal Engine on your side on the stream? Yeah, for some reason it seems that the previous bug in Blender froze the streaming section in Unreal Engine. All right, we are on Unreal Engine, in Unreal Engine. I'll do a new folder, which is going to be called RIG2U5 so that we don't lose track of things. Right click, import to current folder. We're going to track Bella Dagger exported FBX, which we did in Blender. It's super low, 2.2 KB. Open, it's going to import it. Oh, I see what's going on. You guys are watching the Unreal Engine screen, the cursor, but not actually the Windows pop-ups at all. Oh, that's not working right. Yeah, it's like they are all invisible because the editor... Oh, I get it. Oh, so I should just capture the entire screen, huh? Okay, let me see if I can do this. Window capture, no, the entire thing. So this should be display capture. Display capture full Unreal. And it's going to ask me which, I guess this one. And then this one, let's just delete it and see what happens. Transition. Okay. All right, guys. Finally. Okay, so Unreal Engine, because of the many editors that pops up, was not correctly transmitting. But now we're back in, yeah. Okay. So you should see the windows, you should see the editors. Yes, the streaming is live. All right. Fantastic. Just in time for the right soundtrack. So right click, create new folder, RIG2U5, double click, right click again, import into the current folder. I navigate to where I exported our previous Bella Dagger character, open it, and with that open, we're going to show you how to create a modular control rig as well as an IK rig inside Unreal Engine. We don't have to do anything here, and there's only one little thing I want to make you aware of. Let me just lower the music here. One little thing that you need to be aware of here in Unreal Engine 5.7 is that they have decided that they no longer will duplicate FBX materials. FBX materials by default now, whenever they are imported into Unreal Engine 5.7, they are automatically assigned with a default FBX material, what they call. You'll see that in a second. So I'll click import and you'll see the material actually coming up here. Oh, okay. It actually imported everything as intended. That's weird. Well. Oh, okay. I see. I got the textures, but not the actual material. So we need to create a material. That's weird. Like, I don't know. Anyways, let's create a new material. You can right click anywhere and click material, and we're going to name this Bella Body Matte. All right, and then we're going to double click it, I'm super glad that you're watching this now. Yeah, the many window editor pop-ups are not an issue anymore. I'm going to press Control Spacebar, and then I get this tab pop-up, the dock they call it, and from here I can just drag the texture, and we can even copy the material itself and its properties from Blender. You can see that the Bella body mat has different components, and we're going to reconstruct those components using the textures that we have for that. So I'm just going to open the material itself, come to the material, and it's called Bella body mat, which has a roughness, by the way. If I click over here, Control E. It was a good idea to do this because that way we can do this faster. I'm going to bring the Docker, and then I'm going to put the rest of the materials that were not brought, like the Bella sheen and the that's it, I guess. Yeah, and the Bella roughness. Oh no, there is the Bella roughness right there. The Bella sheen, that's the one that we're missing because it wasn't part of the actual PBR. Okay, so we have this. Let's connect it into the base color, and you will automatically see that the material is assigned. We're going to start slow so that you can understand how the material works. The material noding works here. It's exactly like Blender, except that they have different names. And if you want the properties of the material instead of them living in this side of the panel, like inside this side of the panel in Unreal Engine, they live to the other side over this side, and that's it. Let's apply for Bella body material, and then just click save. And with that, we're going to bring the Bella Dagger skeletal mesh, double click it, and you're going to see the list of the materials that it uses. So we need to recreate all those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 materials. You can see, and this is what I was talking about before, we have been assigned a world grid material. That's like the default material because that's the way Unreal Engine 5.7 is working right now. It's not recognizing what it used to recognize from Blender, which is the PBR material setup from the principal BSDF. I don't know whatever happened between that version and this Blender. It's not recognizing it right now. But let's try this. So how do you know which material corresponds to which part of the body from this character? Easy. You can just click isolate, and then you can know. So this one, the first one, is for the head. Isolate, this one is for the interior of the eyes. This one should be probably, this is for the eyes. We can do that later. And this is for the pupils. And finally, of course, this is the body. This is the one that we're interested in replacing. So let's just do that. Since we have already created the material, we can come here in the last part and just drag and drop Bella body material right there. You can see that automatically populates, and we can see that. But it looks so dull. It looks so bad. It doesn't look anything like in Blender, right? Yeah, let's fix that. Double click, and let's continue to the setup for the rest of the Bella body material, which is the roughness. This roughness channel helps the materials, be in their correct kind of shininess. And specular, you can copy that from this. This is important. The IR level, I don't know why they put this specular and then have an IR level, even though we cannot use IR in transparency. Well, I'm not going to rant about that. Anyways, the specular IR level 0.53. It's not the same system, but you can get pretty close. So you can see that it's 0.5. It's there. I mean, it's going to work. What about metallic? You can see the metallic right there is 7. This value right here, so 0.7 works. So you can do that. 0.7. Specular, roughness, and the base color, and that's it. That's everything we use in the body material. We have a Bella sheen. This is for the sheen properties, and the roughness in the sheen is 0.3. Let's see if we have a sheen right here. We have an anisotropy and emissive, but we don't have a sheen actually in the regular material. But you do have it over here. I think it's one of these shows you that. But we're not creating. I think it's clear coat. That's the property that brings like the generic material where you can apply the sheen. But right now, let's not worry about that because it's not really something that we could. let me just try one more thing. I don't think this is gonna work, but just as a little experiment, let's put this into specular just because. Let's see what happens. Apply. And save, and then let's come back here. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. Yeah, we should see sheen there, and there's no sheen, so we need the specular back. To remove the connection, you press Alt and left click on the connection line, and then it will just disappear. So that's it. Let's just leave this material as simple as it is. Let's create the second material, which is the head. So right click, create a new material, just exactly like in Blender. This is Bella head material. Double click it, and we're going to assign the let me just roll a little bit in the music thing because it's looking okay. Yeah, let's power up. All right. I'm going to create a new material which is called eyes and another one for eyes interior. Eyes material. Oh, this is called Bella eyes because out there are other materials called eyes and stuff, which is basically the same. And this is why it's important to do it with one single map but different material properties, because that way you can manipulate what you need. And I think roughness for that kind of material was I think it's yeah, right there, that's Bella Matte 1. It's the color, it's got to be the color. Bella eyes, here we go. Yeah, the metallic and roughness, those are important there. Metallic 03 and roughness 04. Sometimes I'm super glad that Unreal Engine copies things from Blender. Nah, just kidding. Blender copies stuff from Unreal. Okay, so that's that. It's specular 101 on that. That's weird. For the eyes? Are you sure? Yeah, this is it. Oh, I get it. It's because I don't want. Yeah, I remember. That's because I don't want it to look plasticky, but instead more metallic. And I think it was this one. Yeah, this is the one. So little eyes. Oops, I forgot to save. Apply and save. Hey, if you have any questions about Unreal Engine, please let me know in the chat. Okay, cool. Bella eyes. Bella eyes. Nice. Oh, that's right. We also have to, yeah, it's exactly the same list that we have right here. So we have a black matte and white eye, and then the texture things. So let's just do that. That's just easy.
Stations. Prepare. We are taking down the mothership.
So we created, I don't know if you have the audio, but we created a basic black material. And what we did was to select it and then come here into the shading model and say unlit. That's it. That's the entire black material. That's basically like creating an emission shader. So we're going to assign that. I think it's this one. Yeah. It's for the mouth interior and also for the pupil. So let's just, yeah, there you go. Populate it. And then we have the white eyes. We're going to do exactly the same, except that this time is going to be white. So nothing difficult about it. So this is Bella White Matte. I hope you're really enjoying this long walkthrough on Unreal Engine, creating these materials. So, whoops. Yeah, this is unlit. And how do we define the color? By emitting color. Now, you don't have a direct access. Oh, they added this in Unreal Engine 5.7. This is great. This is great. This is actually great. So I'm going to just select that one and then okay. Ah, this is great. They used there wasn't an option for this before, but they have added this option in 5.7. This is great. There are a lot of things I need to tell you about how to configure correctly the materials for this, but let's just move on and let's get finished. So Bella head, I think it's already done, so let's just assign that. Bella head, it's right there. It's not the best, but it works. It works exactly as we intended. We can see the tail, everything is there, the roughness works, the materials there. The only thing I'm missing is the sheen, you know, because that sheen actually gives Bella that nice. Let me just turn on the lights. That nice finish, glossy finish on the clothes. Hey, wait, where are the lights? Anyways, you can see her right there. Let me just maximize this. Okay, so we're back. And save this. Close this. The material for Bella head. Save. The head also had some specular. Well, I'm not going to worry about that right now. We have all the materials ready, and this head was just a placeholder so that you won't get dizzy waiting. So we have the skeletal mesh right here. It's the pink line that you see right here. This is where the magic begins, because in Blender, when you finish exporting the FBX and then you construct the materials and you're in this step, you can just right click here and then you come here into create, and this is what you're interested in testing, or rather in retargeting. In this case, if you're going to assign animation capture from Quick Magic, you can come here into the IK rig retarget, but we need an IK rig, so I'm going to do that. Right click, IK rig, it creates it directly from the Bella model, so I just double click here, and you have to make a simple operation. This is another feature, please mind, this is another feature from RIG2U5. Normally, when you have a character and you bring it into Unreal Engine, you have to set up the entire chains and the entire controllers for your character to work. RIG2U5 provides the specific bones so that you only click auto create IK once, and they are all created in the right places, and then you click auto create retargeting chains. This process alone, which gives you 100% accuracy, as you can read down here, this process alone takes you around 20 to 25 minutes to set up, including, you know, the right correct bones, the right correct targets. It's a mess, but not with RIG2U5, which offers you this huge advantage. Huge advantage for what exactly? Now that you have a retarget IK rig, you can retarget anything that you need. In this case, if you right click, you click on create IK retargeter, and what that's going to do is to create a new module with this blue line that you can double click, And this blue model asks you, hey, I already have this source for the IK rig, and then what's my target? The same IK rig. That's what it does. That's what it automatically does. Unreal 5.7 automatically wires the retargeting method. However, what you want to do is to have in this source IK rig the Quick Magic AI mocap. Okay, I don't have it right now. I will do that later because right now I need to end the stream. It has been too long and I don't see very much participation. It's been 3 hours. And I'm happy that you see that the entire process works. So I have already covered this in super short 3 to 6 minute videos in my channel on the playlist RIG2U5, so you can watch how you can retarget the meshes, how you can retarget the rigs. Okay, so everything is there. Super short videos, 3 to 5 minutes, 3 to 6 minutes. You can see the retargeting method there. All I wanted to show you right now is that the pipeline works from Blender, you know, just pushing one button, one marvelous button, and then you're here just clicking 2 buttons and you already are working with whatever Unreal Engine needs to retarget, which is simply amazing. Yeah, so that's that, and let's now use the control rig. Again, the pink line, the skeletal mesh, right click, create. Let's go into control rig. It automatically creates it down here. As you can see, it's kind of a yellowish line. Double click there, and this is going to open up new modules with your character in there. This control rigs, I'm sorry, it's a modular control rig. I made a mistake, sorry. Yeah, this is the actual control rig. So this is for advanced rigs that you can create. So I'm going to delete it. I'm going to go back into skeletal mesh, and then I'm going to say modular rig. This is the one that we're interested in. Sorry, modular rig. So modular rig, what it does is that you can drag and drop components into the rig, and they will react as if they were native controllers for Unreal Engine. This also is shown in my channel. Please check out my channel on the RIG2U5 playlist. It's a very short 4 to 5 minutes video, 3 to 4 5 minute video, and you can see there that the first thing that it requires is the spine component. It tells you right there. This in reality, oh, by the way, we can talk about this in depth. In technical depth is what I mean. I'm showing you like the ropes, like at a very basic level, but I've been studying this for a full year now. So the basic, very first thing that you need to use is the spine control. So let's find it, and you can see here right here it says exclude outdated, which is good, and this is the spine control, and you can see that it's for biped, for stable. Obviously, it's from Epic. This is what they have done for you to use. Okay, so I'll just drag it into this socket. They call socket to every null or every empty where you create a node. That node seeks for branches, and those branches add additional components logical to that node tree, if we can call it that way. Now, one thing I want to say is that this module has been developed by some of the ex-Softimager people who are experts at rigging. So this modular control rig is growing by the months into new implementations, into new technical stuff to make it easier for you to manipulate your controls and create easier animations. All right, let's continue. So we have the arm right here. We have the neck for the head. We can actually compile this to see how it looks. Again, please watch the videos. It's just a 4 or 5 minute video on how to use these modular control things. But let's just continue on this session, and I'll end here because I need to take care of other stuff outside in the real world. I love to be with you guys here all afternoon long, but I also have chores to attend, so I'll just drag and drop this leg control. We used to be broken, if you remember, back in Unreal Engine 5.4. I want to tell you guys that every report that you send from Unreal Engine is a totally different story than when you send error or bug reports for other softwares. These guys, the Unreal Engine guys, developers, they do read your reports, okay? They do read your reports that I give a very secure answer when I tell you that these guys are really interested in making the software a better tool every day. So there you have it. It's working, and since we already rigged the skirt, you can see it's reacting as well. I was telling you that it is possible to actually there's a way to reset this. I forgot how, but there is a button here. Anyways, undo twice, undo 3 times. There we go. Yeah, so they are very mindful of what these controllers can do, and they are very mindful of the way Unreal Engine works. I forgot how. Oh, here we go. So I just click outside, and then the modules come back. You can see these nodes are populated, and they are all correctly working. I mean, everything is just precise. There's no fooling around here. You can just drag and drop, and this version 5.7 is much more stable, much more precise than its antecessors. So it's working perfectly there. And there's another thing. Since our character does not have fingers, fingers will appear because we created the bones. However, we do not need them because we don't have individual fingers. So let's go back, and you can see right there. Now we need the arm component. It's looking for shoulder. So you can see here and look for shoulder. Shoulder branches into an arm. You'll see that in a second. It automatically creates the branching arm. This is just a very efficient way, a very important and efficient way of thinking about procedural rigging. So it says, hey, I need a hand socket, and then I will create the arm. You can see right there. Oops. This was shoulder. Place the shoulder module here. Oh, yeah. And this one is looking for a hand socket. So let's find hand. Unless I'm confused. And what it was really expecting was the arm rig module. Maybe they did not change the name. Yeah. Exclude outdated. Maybe it's there. Oh, those are the previous version outdated. Okay, I see it. No. I don't think it's going to be finger. No, it's not going to be finger. It cannot be finger. So let's just undo this. Maybe I can. Yeah. Let's try arm. Yeah, I knew it wouldn't work. Oh, no, there it is. It worked. It worked. Oh, so I see. So there is a shoulder, and there's an arm in this case, which automatically now brings everything, including the fingers. So that's great. I mean, fantastic. It wasn't working like this in the previous version. So yeah, let's use the arm. Oh, by the way, you can there's a way here where you can mirror the components. I don't remember exactly. I think it's by selecting this and just clicking the mirror. This was very faulty on previous versions, so I will not do it right now. But just so you know, you only need to rig like the left side or the right side, and then just go to the components, right click, and just click mirror, and they will mirror. I will not do it right now because I'm on live stream and I don't want to mess this session up. Unreal Engine crashing takes around 13 minutes to go back into to workflows. Oh, look at that. It looks nice. It looks nice. All we're missing is the head component, which requires a neck socket. So you come here and use the neck socket, which used to be head. Yeah, right there. So drag and drop this. Hold it, by the way, until you see the pop-up, because it's not just drag and drop it and forget it. If you do that, drag and drop it, it will not trigger. You need to drag, hold, until you see the pop-up, and then drop it. Okay, this is very important for you to understand because otherwise you're gonna mess up the entire thing. So you can see this is populated because I can see the circle full. The circle is full. The circle is full. So let's try this. Right now it's on IK. Oh, this is another important thing that many people has asked me over the years. Mr. Schiller, if I want to use FK, is it possible to do that? Where is the FK IK controller for this? Like for the leg and for the arms? Like it's a very valid question, and you can do that certainly in here in Unreal Engine. Right now, I'm just going to grab this. Yeah, I expected this to happen. I totally expected this to happen, and this is because I don't have the pole. And since I don't have the pole or the shoulder in this case, yeah, it's gonna treat it like that. Has been created procedure. Oh yeah. Anyways. So yeah, this is arm. So this is just built for this forearm, like this, and over here we need the the shoulder. So shoulder component, arm, and then whatever section comes here. So oh my mind. You can focus by pressing F. Yeah, it's there. This is the shoulder. So I made a mistake. Yeah, I have not visited the controllers for quite a long time. Let me undo. Maybe we can go back that far. Yeah, we could go back that far. And let's try one more time. I'm glad I'm doing this live so you can understand what happens, what's the mentality there, and why it's happening. So I imagine this is the part where I set up the arm and then it will trigger back. Yeah. That's so funny. Anyway, so let's just grab this and now it should work. See? That's why it's important that you ask questions. And thank you so much if you are watching this in the channel. Thank you so much if you're with us right now. And let me just pick this, which is the shoulder. The shoulder pole, just like we saw in Blender. Remember that, right? That if you pick this pole up or down, it's going to target your elbow. Exactly like in Blender. Aren't you glad? Click outside, the nodes come back, and let's just do that one more time using the shoulder for this side and then using the arm for the this is so counterintuitive because there used to be something called hands. That's why I was confused, but now I see the component entirely has been rewritten as arm, which makes sense. All right, there it is. So there you have it. And now your question, Mr. Schiller, where do we go to manage the IKFK, controllers? So now let's compile first of all, then save. What does compile do? It works in your, I don't think it's right here, but let me just show you. All of these components have sockets. Sockets are null properties that communicate how to create the change, the inverse kinematic changes, all of that. In the rig itself, it does it automatically for you. You don't have to do that. That's why it's called modular rigging, because you can rig. I'm sorry, I'm super sorry because I'm really hungry. Anyways, it automatically rigs everything for you, so you don't have to do this. It's done procedurally. So once we have this control rig, what do we do? That's an interesting question because right now we're going to use it. We're going to animate it. As soon as you drag and drop this model which has modular rig controls, you are automatically creating a cinematic sequence. Why? Because Unreal Engine expects you to animate. Let me just delete or hide this head. Okay, so you can see everything is right there. It's expecting you to animate. And you previously asked, Mr. Schiller, where do we find the properties to do FK or IK? And in this case, if you select the control, you should be able to see it down here. Let me just expand this. And it's supposed to be living in the, I think it's global. If you click here, you're going to see properties appear over here. Yeah, it's on the global. Exactly like in Blender. This is the global controller. You can see it selected. And as soon as you select it over here, you can see, hey, you can turn on or turn off IK or FK switches. So this is where you do it. Okay? So this is in viewport. This is in the viewport, and if I'm not mistaken, and if they did not change it, I think, let me see. If you double click the operands again, the modules, I think if you select this, yeah, it's all the way down here. You can see this is PV follow. No, not this one. Oh, sorry. It's on the root. Also on the root. It looks like they changed it. It used to be there. Let me just select the main controller. In this case, it's leg. Oh, by the way, you can see that this is a type L socket, so it's probably this one. It's a good idea to rename this, by the way. Right-click, rename, and put the actual name there, and it's gonna work. So if you select the main control module, there it is, FK, IK control. Is it this one? Oh, they call it enable PV follow. Maybe it's this one. Yeah, I need to check with the previous video done, which I explained where the controller is. But yeah, I think they call it enable PV follow for some reason. And this is the pole check mark. Yeah. Well, let me see if maybe they switched it over here. Yeah, PV follow. They call it PV follow. I don't know. Don't ask me. Don't ask me. I don't do the rules here. Yeah, it's PV follow, what they call it out here. Anyways, let's just compile, save, and now you can go back into the viewport and, I don't know, do some animation on how do you animate in here. Well, that's an important question because you can go down here. You can see that your timeline is playing over here. Your controls are down here. And just click enter. Just hover over here, click enter, and then you will see foot L control. It's there. Now I'll move just like that. Right here. Press F to focus. Oops. Let me just move this. Probably right there. If you're feeling this too snappy, that's because you have this available. This active. Snapping for rotation and snapping for translation. So just check that so that you can freely move your leg, your feet, whatever thing it is. So just press enter and that's it. And you keep doing this for the entire thing. 3 important questions. Question number 1, does it make it heavier to have this kind of controls? No, you can animate easily, exactly like you animate in Blender. As a matter of fact, these things do not make the viewport heavy, so you can animate with confidence. Mr. Schiller, can we select multiple objects and then roll them in their own axes like we do in Blender? Yes, you can. There's a module here, or there's an option here where it says local space, and you can grab that, and I think that if you go into rotation mode, it will add it. Yeah, it will add it right there. Okay, that's the second important question. And the third important question, Mr. Schiller, the head. Can we animate the bee's antenna like you said before? Yeah, sure thing. Let's. That's one thing I forgot to do. Let's go back into this module. You can see that we don't have the antenna here. Why? What is that? Do we have the weights? Do we have the bones? Are there bones there? Sure they are. And since we called it antenna, we can come here into the rig hierarchy and call it antenna. Look, antenna. Here we go. And we named right there 01, 02. So this right there needs to have a socket. So once you select it, you can right click on it and then you can create what's it called? New element right there. It's called new socket right there. New socket. Perfect. And now right click over here, new element, create new socket. So what are we going to add there? We're going to add the, there's a component here called chain. Okay? And chain has the property to have spring bones. Well, not really spring bones, but do springy things. So I'm going to drag that, and then I'm going to drag and drop this one over here as well. And the properties to this are living over here on details. So you can come here in details and select the, in this case, chain. All right. And chain is useful for creating the springy things. And the springy things is what they call, it's over here. Some dynamics. Here we go. So just click on dynamics right there. That's change one. We should do well in naming them, but I'm just going to pass right now. I just want to get this over with. I hope you're having a great lot of fun right now, because I am super happy that this is super solid workflow now. This used to be so buggy back in 2024. Yeah, that's it. And how do we test this? This is important. I'm going to grab this. The root right there. I'm going to go into the move thing, and then I'm going to just whoops move it. Oh wow. I think we forgot to parent this strings first. We forgot to make this someone parent. So right now the only parent is def antenna, but no, we should make it a parent of the right there, chain primary. It's that one. That's okay. The end bone, the start bone, but the chain primary, I think the deformation is not the one. We need to parent it to the head. That's why they, whoops. That's why they, yeah, head, enter. I don't think it's gonna work. Here we go. Head. Oh yeah, this is another thing that used to be so buggy. It's not working. There's another alternative method where you just drag and drop this into the actual component. I don't see my head controllers. Oh, that's why we did not add the head component. We undo so many times that we forgot. And there is no neck component, sorry. So drag and drop this here. Yeah, there we go. And now we should get proper change. Yeah, there it is, neck. So I'm going to target the, I think if I drag and drop, yeah, they're make child off, drag and drop, yeah, they're make child off. That's it. Compile, save. Once you get used to this, it's easy to look for the actual solutions on how it's going to work. So let's go. Oh no, still doing its thing. Well, guys, you should check my video because I totally have forgotten after all this time. And there definitely are some new things. All I wanted you to know is that if you drag and drop this into any component, it's going to become the child of that component. And since we have a head and there is a neck socket and there are some other bones like the head bone, there is a socket obeying that for the neck. But one of those components is supposed to be the parent of these things. So maybe let's try one more time. Head. Of course, it's not going to find it because what it's trying to find, it's the actual, let's see if neck works. Yeah, neck socket. It's looking for the sockets rather than a bone. So this neck chain is, okay, it's looking for, so drag and drop here. And this one, it's also going to look then for a socket, for the neck socket. All I remember is that you need to parent this with the head bone. So let's try one more time, and this time it should work. So I'll just take this one and move it. Oh no, it doesn't move. It's not obeying. It's not obeying. I totally forgot, guys. I'm going to have to apologize for that. But I'm pretty sure that if you watch the video, my video on the playlist channel with the RIG2U5 rigs, you can see that you can create springy bones. I remember I did that model with Bay from Girls Frontline, and you can see how that works. As a matter of fact, I did wiggly skirt, wiggly chest, and wiggly hair. So anyways, thank you very much for being in this session. It has been around 4 hours. Thank you so much for sharing my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Oh, by the way, if you save and compile here, you come back here and you will see the new new components added already. So there it is. Although you cannot see it, you know what? I'm not gonna give up. So just press enter. Let's just roll it back. I don't know, somewhere there. Enter. And then maybe she's sad because the stream is ending, and then it's there. So let's play it back. It should just wiggle in real time, as you can see it right there. Of course, if you make like sudden movements, it will be more noticeable. There was a way, I don't remember exactly, there was a way to reset the rotation just like in Blender, and that was nifty. I don't remember exactly how, but it was nifty. Well, let's bring it all the way over here and then just put a super short keyframe side to side, and there you go. You can see it's like working exactly as intended. Alright guys, thank you so much. This has been a brief demonstration on how you send your RIG2U5 rigs from Blender into Unreal Engine, and everything works as expected. And from here you can just animate your character and start having the entire fun for you. This is too funny. Of course, now it obeys the it obeys the wiggle thing for the entire head. This is so funny. That's why I told you should create a root for the head. Anyways, so there you have it, and it's working. In the next video, which will be a short video, 5-7 minute video, I'll show you how to bring the whip and the rest of the components so that this character will animate for the video game, and of course that you can replace it and use it for your own game. Thank you very much. This has been Pierre Schiller, and I hope to see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for your support.